NTV Akawungeezi mbaniriza nnyo banaffe. Uganda esindisa amagye g'omu bbanga Somalia okwanganga aba Al-Shabaab. Ate kuno abasawo ejjinja beedimye ne balabya abalwadde ennaku. Songa ne Kaihura alabudde abategese okukola effujjo mu kulonda Kasese nti ekinaabatuukako baakulwawo nga bakirojja. Oliko NTV Akawungeezi katusooke tulabe emitwe emikulu. Okutebenkeza Somalia, Uganda eweerezza amagye g'omu bbanga. Abasawo ejjinja beedimye entabwe evudde ku munnaabwe eyakwatiddwa.
Nsazeewo okusindika bakomandu bange.
Okulonda Kasese, Kaihura ayungudde bakomando okukola ku banaaleeta effujjo. Mu byemizannyo empaka za Olympics, Julius Mutekanga ne Janet Achola nabo bawanduse. Nyongedde okukwaniriza nate nze Hatmana Lugwa Sekaya. Uganda eweereza amagye ag'omu bbanga n'ebikozesebwa ebiwerako e Somalia okwongereza ku magye g'oku ttaka agamazeeyo kati emyaka kumpi 6. Abamagye bano bonna awamu bali 115 era bulijjo Uganda netegefu nnyo okubaweereza okuggyako nti akakiiko k'ebyokwerinda mu kibiina ekitaba amawanga kabakalaatidde nsonyiiko katono. Abamagye bano bonna awamu bali 115 era bulijjo Uganda netegefu nnyo okubaweereza okuggyako nti akakiiko k'ebyokwerinda mu kibiina ekitaba amawanga ke kabadde kaludde okuyisa ekiragiro. Olwaleero Omuduumizi w'amagye General Aronda Nyakairima asiibudde amagye gano ng'abajjukiza nti mu Somalia tebagenze kulisa bijanjaalo mpiso olw'ensonga z'ebyokwerinda ebimu ku bifaananyi bino tetugenda kubikulaga.
Amagye ga AMISOM nga kati gali mu Uganda, Burundi, Djibouti, Kenya ne Ethiopia gatandikadde okusenvula okuva mu kibuga Mogadishu. Ebitundu bye galimu kati byesudde kilomita 20 okutuuka ku 40. Agamu ku magye gano gali mu bitundu nga Baidoa mambuka ga Somalia. Kaweefube w'okuzza emirembe watuuse kati yeetaaga amagye ago mu bbanga okwanguya emirimu omuli okukuba ba Al-Shabaab, okutuusa abasirikale gye beetaagibwa mu budde, okunoonya n'okununula abasirikale ababa batuuseeko ekizibu, n'okwanguya okutuusa abalumiziddwa gye bayinza okufuna obujjanjabi. Omugaso omulala omukulu gwa kwerekera ku basirikale ab'okuttaka nga bayita mu bitundu eby'obulabe. Uganda eweereza amagye ag'omu bbanga n'ennyonyi eziwerako ezigenda okwongerwa ku za Kenya. Kirowoozebwa nti Burundi ne Djibouti nabo bagenda kuweereza.
So this is part of force multiplier. What we are, the helicopters or the Air Force component is a force multiplier to go and support the ground forces and expand operations in the whole of Somalia.
Ekiseera kyonna AMISOM ejja kubeezinda Kismayo, ekibuga Al-Shabaab mwesenga okusimba amakanda n'okuddukanyiza emirimu gyayo egisenga obungi.
Senkulu wa poliisi Lieutenant General Kale Kayihura ategezezza nga bwayimbudde bakomando okugenda e Kasese okuziyiza bakanyama abalina ekirooto ky'okukola effujjo mu kuddamu okulonda omubaka omukyala anaakiikirira ekitundu ekyo. Ko akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kategezezza nga bwe kafunye amawulire nti waliwo abantu abateekateeka okulonda omulundi ogusukka mugumu. Kino kyeyolekedde mu mulimu gw'okulongoosa enkalala z'abalonzi mwe kaazuulidde nti abantu 1229 babadde bamaze okwewandiisa mu mulundi ogusukka mugumu.
Wabula wadde nga guli gutyo Senkulu w'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda Engineer Badiru Kigundu agamba nti waliwo amakubo ge batadde okulaba ng'emivuyo gino gyewalibwa. Muno mulimu okusazaamu amannya g'abalonzi naddala mu bifo bye basooka okwewandiisiza, okussaawo emmeeza abantu bonna abanaaba n'okwemulugunya bye banaatuukira naddala ku bikwatagana n'amannya gaabwe, so nga n'enkalala z'abalonzi zaakuddamu okwekkaanyizibwa ng'okulonda tekunnabaawo okusobola okugwa mu bufu bw'abayinza okuba nga batebuse eriiso lyabwe.
Gyenzijjamu bano bembalaga kati era gaabo abeewandisiza emirundi ebiri ku polling station emu. Ebyuma byaffe kati bisobola obbakwata era byabasunsuddemu.
Kigundu era alabudde ba agenti b'abeesimbyewo okubeera n'ebiwandiiko ebiboogerako okwewala okukolebwako ng'amateeka bwe galagira.
Era ba agents abo bateekwa okuba balina ebbaluwayo eya political party oba eyo agent, oya candidate ebalambika ebbaluwa balina okujjanjula eri presiding officer kuba alina ogitereka ekakasa nti oyo ali wano mu butuufu.
Ebyo nga bikyali awo, Senkulu wa poliisi Lieutenant General Kale Kayihura ategeezezza nga bw'agenda okuyimbula ekibinja ky'abakomando okugenda e Kasese okwanganga bakanyama bagamba nti batandise okweyiwa mu kitundu kino n'ekigendererwa eky'okutulugunya abantu.
Kati bakanyama bafuuse kanyama. Candidate bapangisa bakanyama. Nsazeewo okusindika bakomandu bange batayikondo kamando kubanga kirabika abapoliisi local police bagayavu.
Byo ebyetagisibwa mu kulonda kw'olwokusatu bikedde kusindikibwayo kuva ku kitebe ky'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda mu Kampala.
Njagala kukakasa Abannayuganda nti ebintu bino bijja kuva wano bulungi, teri agenda kubikwatako, bijja kutuuka e Kasese ne mu polling station zonna bwe biraga.
Olunaku lw'eggulo Pulezidenti Museveni yasibye awenjeza muna NRM akalulu, so nga ne Senkulu wa FDC olwaleero asibye mu kitundu kye kimu ng'anoonyeza omuntu w'obululu.
Poliisi olwaleero ezzeemu okukwata abakungu mu ofiisi ya Ssaabaminisita abagambibwa nti beekomya ensimbi z'omwewo w'omusolo mu ngeri ezitali zimu. Bano baali bakwatibwa awamu ne Geoffrey Kazinda, omubalirizi w'ebitabo mukulu mu ofiisi eno, oluvannyuma yateebwa ku kakalu ka poliisi ate n'addamu okukwatibwa Sabiti yawedde. Abamu ku bakulu bano poliisi nabo baali bateereddwa naye nga kati poliisi efunye obujulizi obulala obubaluma. Mu bano mulimu Owunyo Isaiah nga Kasia Mumanyire Arthur nga mubalirizi wa bitabo ne Martin Owori saako Beatrice Kezabu.
Tukitya nti ejja kutaataganya obujulizi bwaffe tube nti emisango ajja gisinga ng'ate yali esente za gavumenti ezammwe abantu. Okunoonyereza kwaffe kugenze kulaga nti wali ate obujulizi obupya bugenda buzuuka era abantu bano abataano nga kuliko ne Mwami Kazinda ew'omukaaga bamu babadde ku bondi zaabwe ne zisazibwamu ne tuba nti tubasigazza ng'okunoonyereza bwe kugenda mu maaso ate nga Bannayuganda babadde baga nti mubatwale mu kooti naye tetwagala nnyo kupapa ate tulekeyo obujulizi obugenda okubaluma kubanga ekyo kye tusinga okwagala. Tujja kukola ekisoboka okuba nti tubatwala mangu ddala ng'okunoonyereza kuwedde kubanga kirina emitendera tugende wa DPP zibe wa DPP tubatwale mu kooti n'emisango egyo gye tunaaba tusazeewo okubatwalamu naye tusudde nti bangi nnyo balina emisango gisukka mu gumu naye emikulu ennyo waliwo obukenuzi obwo obuli bw'enguzi nekkobaane mu kuzza emisango egyo n'emisango emirala nga bwe tunaaba tugisazeewo okusinziira okunoonyereza bwe tunaaba kulaga.
Ssaabadduumizi w'amagye ga Uganda General Aronda Nyakairima agamba nti abo ababijweteka nti Uganda ewagira abayeekera abazinya omukulembeze wa Congo Joseph Kabila oluguje bunyumya kubanga si bituufu. Agamba nti Uganda teragirangako bayeekera ba M23. Bino byogeredde ku kitebe ky'amagye embuya abakulu mu magye omubadde ne General Moses Ali kwe batimbiddwa ennyota zaabwe empya.
Wazze wabaawo ebiyitingana bingi nti Uganda wamu ne Rwanda bawagira abayeekera ba M23 abasuza Kabila wa Congo nga teyeebase. Rwanda ne Uganda bazze bakyogera lunye nti ebibogerwako bya bulimba. Olwaleero omuduumizi w'amagye ga Uganda General Aronda Nyakairima agambye nti Uganda tebankona ndowooza ya kutabangula Congo.
No. Ffe tubadde tukolagana ne Congo ebulungi. Of course amabega twali Congo ntuvaayo naye kati ebiseera ebiriwo twakolagana ne Congo kulwanisa ne Konyi. Kati ebyedda byavaawo.
Bino ebijjidde nga n'olukiiko lulimu amawanga galiraanye Congo lutula wano olunaku lw'enkya nga n'emu ku nsonga ezigenda okwogerwako ye Congo.
Era kati kyolaba nti olukungaana lwa bapulezidenti lwa ba Great Lakes Conference nga 8 bajja kuba wano kunyumya ku bintu bya Congo.
Nyakairima okutangaza kuno akoledde ku kitebe ky'amagye embuya ku mukolo b'ofiisa b'amagye abaakuzibwa gye buvuddeko kwe banaanikiddwa ebitiibwa byabwe. Mu bano mubaddemu Lieutenant General Moses Ali nga katafuuse General, abadde Brigadier Matayo Kyaligonza nga katafuuse Major General, sako ne Julius Chihanda abadde Kano nga kati Brigadier sako n'abalala bangi.
Your work has pleased the authority to promote you in the relevant ranks you are.
Moses Ali kati yeegase ku basirikale abalala abakulu abawumuziddwa mu magye. Sohail Mugabi, NTV Akawungeezi.
Neguli radio ekitundu kyaffe ekisooka mu NTV Akawungeezi olwaleero bwekityo bwekigenze. Tovaawo nkomawo n'ekitundu ekyokubiri omuli amawulire mangi nnyo ddala. Ekirwadde kya Ebola ekibaale aba taxi ne baasi beemagaza. Amasasi ganyoose Busiya abalwanyisa okukukusa ebyamaguzi babadde ku muyiggo.
Olugero lwa leero lukutuusibwako
eyali afudde bw'olemala nti Katonda yankolera. Omuntu bw'awona obulwadde obw'amaanyi oba ekintu kyonna eky'engeri endala gamba ng'akabenje n'alemala tasaana kunyiigira Katonda nti yamukola bubi okumulemaza. Ono aba asaana kumwebaza olw'okumuwonya okufa.
This is NTV.
Kwere embeera y'abasajja bano
essuubi nga lyakuggwamu mama.
Bano abasajja bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale.
Sogera byange
kubanda bana bagamba ne bwagala nkubulira ebyange ja tugende emyanzi
mpulira abanyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinasi South Africa baba bakujerega obituufu
baba banjerega oyo mufere mubbi yennyini yeetaaga miggo omuntu wa bulijjo tomuzanyirangako abeeranga dormant volcano
bwemba mukkiriza nina takuwa mugiyita
ate takuwa gobeera mugoberezi tolowooza nti mulimo oyogerera omusiraamu senga naakubuuza nti Katonda yagamba atya
bw'oba oli pasita ng'okyawa olimba obba oyenda olina abakazi basatu please heaven is waiting for you. One day you'll pay and soon your time is out.
Otisa moni.
Sitisa. Mkubuulira Yesu talimba.
Ebintu mbimala mulundi gumu. Kati what is I love peace.
Gwokola bi.
Wegase n'omusajja mutwale mabi.
A message yali ku the last piece of a jambia yali muhadi wayo.
No, bloody way, holy moly.
We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rashmond. Okuzimba nyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
I'm called Olar Oton. There's no English name. Just like resistance, Yakazol.
I blame you. You have option of getting international husband. Why do you get the local?
Time.
We know that all music is beautiful, and that's why NTV brings you the catalogue. Every day at 2:15 p.m. with the classics on
NTV Akawungeezi webale kubanga okyekuumidde wano kino kye kitundu kyaffe ekyokubiri. Entambula esanyaladde enkya ya leero mu kibuga ky'e Busia b'ofiisa mu kitongole ky'emisolo ki Uganda Revenue Authority nga bano be balwanyisa abakukusa ebyamaguzi bwe bakubye amasasi mu paaka ya taxi eruddeeyo. Kino kivudde ku muvubuka abadde akukusa akasawo k'omuceere ate okuddukira mu paaka. Mmotoka 3 zikubiddwa amasasi wadde nga tewabadde muntu n'omu afudde. Ekitabudde abatuuze ne bakanyugira amayinja agaasizza endabirwamu ya mmotoka y'ekitongole.
Amasasi gavuze mu paaka y'e Busia b'ofiisi okuva mu kitongole ky'ebyemisolo ekya Uganda Revenue Authority bwe babadde bagoba omuvubuka abadde akukusa akasawo k'omuceere n'addukira mu paaka ekibaviiriddeko okugyayo emmundu.
Olutuuse wano ne bagoba omwana w'akagaali n'asuula akagaali ne bakwata akaceere ne bakateeka mu mmotoka. Ekivuddemu okateeka mu mmotoka ne batandika okuba ki amasasi ne bakubiramu emmotoka yaffe eri.
Mu kavuvuŋŋana awo emmotoka 3 ze zikubiddwa amasasi ekiziŋŋamizza ebyentambula mu kibuga ky'e Busia. Kino kijja abatuuze mu mbeera ne babakanyugira amayinja okukakana ng'endabirwamu y'emmotoka yaabwe bagyasizza.
Kyuse mu mpisa zaabwe ebyokujjanga mu bamanyija abantu bakolera mu bantu sibira ne tulina mmundu.
Tusaba RDC ne DPC batuyame ku revenue ereme kujja mu paaka.
Abatuuze bategezezza nga b'ofiisi okuva mu Revenue Authority bwe beegumbulidde okuba amasasi mu bantu nga ne munnaabwe yakattibwa ate omulala baakamusibula okuva ku kitanda.
Kamukuba amasasi wano yakafwa mukwano gwaffe n'atugendako kukaveera buveera.
Wabula aba Revenue bategezezza nga okukusa ebintu bwe kweyongedde ku nsalo ya Uganda ne Kenya era n'okuba amasasi babadde beetaasa ku batuuze ababadde bataamye obugo. Poliisi yatandise dde ogw'okubuuliriza.
Abakola ogw'okusaabaza abantu naddala abadda mu disitulikiti y'Ekibale mu kiseera kino ekigomezebwa ennyo ekirwadde kya Ebola ensimbi zitandise okubeekubya empi olw'abantu abagendayo okukendeera. Kyeyongedde okwerageera nti abantu bakyetaaga okusomesebwa ebikwatagana ku bulwadde buno. Gw'omuwendo gw'abafudde gukyali 17 era nga tewali balwadde bajja beeyolese ekizizzaamu abasawo amaanyi.
Abantu 398 mu kiseera kino be bali mu kulondoolwa ku byalo gye babeera nga bano bateeberezebwa okuba nga bajjanjaba oba okukwata ku bannaabwe abaali abalwadde b'Ebola. Ku balwadde 36 abadde baweebwa ebitanda mu ddwaliro Kagadi 29 basuubira okusiibula olunaku lw'enkya ate abala 7 bakugira nga basigadde mu mikono gy'abasawo babeekebejja.
Abalwadde musanvu be bakyali mu isolation ward gye tweya high risk abakyali obubi ddala era nga abasatu ku bo bakakasibwa okuba n'obulwadde buno obw'Ebola by laboratory.
Okuva ku Lwokutaano oluwedde tewali muntu mulala yenna afudde bulwadde buno, abasawo kye bagamba nti kizzaamu amaanyi.
Embeera etandise okulongooka okusinziira nga bwe yali ennaku ezo ez'emabega. Tulina essuubi nti abalwadde abasinga bajja kubeera bulungi.
Kyokka newankubadde ab'ebyobulamu bakoze kyonna ekisoboka okulaba nga basomesa abantu ku bikwatagana obulwadde bw'Ebola omuli n'engeri y'okubwewalamu abagoba b'ebidduka naddala ebyolukale abasinga tebalina kye bamanyi.
Ebola tetunnamufaako kubanga mu Kampala taliimu kati tunamufaako ki mu Kampala ate tebanaba namutusomesa. Ebola mu tawuni taliimu.
Tetulina n'abantu nabo bonyini batidde nnyo. Basi hiyo ya kitundu ziweze sawa mwenda abantu tebatambula obutale eri babugala abasuuzi tebatambula kwegamba tetukola na kukola.
Abalala basabye gavumenti bwe kiba kisoboka esooka eyimiriza ebyentambula okuva ekibaale okudda mu bitundu ebirala.
Disitulikiti 3 Kibaale, Kagadi ne Mubende babasaleko babeere eyo. Bwe Kampala wano bijje Kampala wano ejja kutta abantu bangi nnyo, tuli bangi nnyo wano mu Kampala. Guno mulundi gwakuna ng'Ebola alumba Uganda. Yasooka leo mu 2000 era abantu abasoba mu 200 balusulamu akaba ate nga ku luno abantu 17 be bakafa okuva lwe yazuulibwa ku nkomerero y'omwezi oguwedde.
Eby'Ebola nabyo bwe bityo bwe biri mu kiseera kino katugendeko mu katale k'ensimbi ate tulabe singi ya Uganda nga bwekoze okusinziira ku ssente z'amawanga amalala.
Akatale k'ensimbi kakutuusibwako
URA, developing Uganda together.
All vehicles are required to revalidate their registration.
This is NTV.
Ako ke kabadde akatale k'ensimbi. Ejjinja abalwadde olwaleero basiibye ku bunkenke olw'abasawo okwediima nga bawakanya ekyamunnaabwe eyakwatibwa poliisi ku bigambibwa nti yalagajjalira omukazi w'olubuto ekyamuviirako okufa. Abasawo bagamba nti engeri bannansi gye bakwatamu munnaabwe n'engeri gye yayisibwamu ebamazeemu amaanyi kwe kusalawo okwediima. B'abalwadde balabiddwako nga bibasobedde.
Abasawo okwetawulira ebweru oyinza okulowooza nti mu ddwaliro munda abaliyo bangi naye bw'oliyingizaayo osanga bitanda bikalu ng'abalwadde abamu beevuma abasawo. Kati ng'omukyalo ono waanaaviira wano nga byanyumya bingi.
Nembeegayirira ne bagaana olubuto ne lunyuma ne neevulungula nembeegayirira omwana agamuwulira ajja wano ne bagaana nembeegayirira mu nnyambe mu ntalasembe bazadde ne bagaana omwana wange kyavuddemu. Olubuto lwannumidde ebbanga ddene omwana ekyavuddemu n'agwa mu bisubi mu nsulo. Nembeegayirira omwana nga agenda kufa ne mbagamba mbeegayiridde nnyo mu nnyambe omwana wange agenda kufa omusulo baagaanyi.
Ono naye abadde ataayayalulwe.
Zonna nga temuli paka wenazaalidde wali wansi omwana.
Okwegayirira kuno mu bulumi ayambibweko kyokka nga teri kivaayo kwavudde ku basawo mu ddwaliro lino ekkulu ery'Ejjinja okwediima olwa munnaabwe yasibiddwa nga kigambibwa nti yagayaaliridde omukyala eyabadde olubuto olw'emyezi 8 era omukyala ku Lwokutaano yafa wamu n'omwana we. Mu ngeri gy'oyinza okuyita ey'olubalaato baagambye nti tebannaba kwediimako.
I know the issue that we have now will be sorted out, but I also believe that the patients who have come should be attended to.
Omusawo ono era agambye nti bannamawulire be baboogeddeko ebitali bituufu. Mu nsisinkana gye babaddemu ne bakama baabwe bagamba nti baagala abalwadde n'abatuuze babawe ekitiibwa ekibagwanidde kubanga bye bakolako bingi nnyo. ekyokutulugunya omu ku bannaabwe nakyo bakivumiridde ate ng'ono abadde tannaba na kukuguka bulungi. Omuwala Sharif eyafudde agambibwa okuba nga abadde wa siniya yakuna ng'ew'omulenzi gye yaddukira gye yafunira olubuto. Abasawo abamu era balowooza nti omuwala ono Sharifa ayinza okuba yaleetebwa ng'aliko obuvune gye baamujja. Kitegerekese wabula nti omusawo eyabadde akwatiddwa Dokita Balungi ateereddwa ku kakalu ka poliisi.
NTV Akawungeezi tugenda kuddamu tuwummulemu katono ddala tovaawo nkomawo n'agava mu kisaawe ky'ebyemizannyo.
This is NTV.
I'm knocking. A message yali ku the last piece of a jambia yali muhadi wa yonna.
No, bloody way, holy moly.
We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rashmond. Okuzimba ennyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
NTV Akawungeezi amawulire g'ebyemizannyo geegano. Uganda ne gye buli kati ekyejjusa ekyagitwala mu mpaka za Olympics kubanga ebivaayo byeyongera kuba bibi. Bannayuganda abalala babiri omuli Julius Mutekanga ne Janet Achola begasse ku lukalala lwabo abazze bawanduka mu mizannyo egitali gimu. Katulabe ebiriyo.
Okujeregerera okuliwo ensangi zino nti Uganda mu mpaka za Olympics yatwalayo balambuzi oyinza obutakubuusa maaso bw'otunuulira engeri abagenda giboolesezaamu ebitone byabwe. Julius Mutekanga naye yeegasse ku bawanduse ng'ono yeetabye mu misinde egya mita 800. Kuno kw'ogatta Janet Achola naye kati asigadde okukubira mu ngalo abo abakyazirimu. Ono adduse mu mpaka za mita 1500. Mutekanga amalidde mu kifo kyakutaano mu mpaka z'abasajja eza mita 800 aziddukidde mu ssaawa emu ne sekonda 48 saako obutikitiki 41. Zino ziwanguddwa America Solomon Duane. Ye Janet Achola amalidde mu kifo kya 11 ku baddusi 15 mu mpaka z'abakazi eza mita 1500 ng'aziddukidde mu ssaawa 4 obutikitiki 11 ne sekonda 64 nga zino ziwanguddwa Buloti Gamaze okuva mu ggwanga lya Turkey. Uganda esuubirwa okuwangulayo omudaali kati erina Moses Kipusiro nga wakuddwa ku lwokusatu wamu ne bannayuganda abalala omuli Abraham Kipulimo ne Geoffrey Kusulo mu mita 5000.
Omukubi w'ensambagere Malik Kalisa poliisi ekakasizza nga bw'emukutte ng'ono kigambibwa nti aliko omuntu omulala gwe yeekobaana naye ne banyaga naggagga w'omu Kampala Moses Kalungi. Poliisi egamba nti ono emutwala mu kkooti olunaku lw'enkya avunaanibwe.
Omukubi w'ensambagere Malik Kalisa alambega wa mutayimbwa nga kati amaze ebiro 3 nga kigambibwa nti aliko ensimbi ze yanyaga okuva ku naggagga Moses Kalungi ow'omu Kampala. Ono agambibwa okuba nga yamuggyako dola za Amerika 15,000 saake za Uganda emitwalo 6 mu Desemba w'omwaka oguwedde. Kalisa agambibwa okuba nga bamu ne Abdallah ng'ono yamala dde okukwatibwa n'avunaanibwa mu kkooti. Poliisi egamba nti Malik ebadde munoonya okutuusa lwe bamukwatidde ku lwa paaka ennaku entono eziise.
Omwami ayitibwa Kalungi Moses nga agamba nti bamunyaga ng'ennaku z'omwezi 13 omwezi gwa Desemba omwaka oguwedde bwe yali ku kifo ekiyitibwa High Table ng'era yategeeza nti abantu bamunyaga mwalimu omu ayitibwa Abdallah ne Kalisa Malik. Poliisi yasobola okukwata Abdallah nemuvunaana emutwala mu kkooti ne Malik abadde talabika. Omwami Kalungi Moses agamba nti ne bamukuba byansusso ne bamunyagako ssente ze eziwera ddala $4,500 n'emitwalo 6 eza Uganda.
Malik Kalisa y'omu ku bazannyi b'ensambagere abamanya mu ggwanga era nga mu kulwanako y'akasembayo yakubwamu na UPDF Titus Tugume. Ono asuubirwa okusimbibwa mu kkooti avunaanibwa ogw'obubbi.
Ebyemizannyo nabyo bwe bityo bwe bigenze. Tetugenda kusobola kubeera na ntebereza ya budde girinde mawulire agaddako ku ssaawa 3 olwakadde okutulira empinga. Ndi Hatima Nalugwa Sekaya tova ku NTV tusinkana olunaku olw'enkya sula bulungi weeraba.
is NTV.
A message yali ku the last piece of a jambia yali muhadi wa yonna.
No, bloody way, holy moly.
We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rachmond. Okuzimba nyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
I'm called Olar Oton. There's no English name. Just like resistance, Yakazol.
I blame you. You have option of getting international husband. Why do you get it broken?
A message yali ku the last piece of a jambia yali muhadi wa yonna.
No, bloody way, holy moly.
We've just met. How can I be your friend? Mr. Rachmond. Okuzimba nyumba nga kintu kizibu nnyo banange mugumire mu bupangisa. Come.
I'm called Olar Oton. There's no...
This is NTV.
On this edition of Profiles.
I don't want people to say that I'm the one who encouraged them to go to theatre. Let them choose for themselves. Why did the theatre die? How many theatres do we have here today?
George Santayana, an American poet, said, "The theatre, for all its artifices, depicts life in a sense more truly than history, because the medium has a kindred movement to that of real life, though an artificial setting and form." We all remember the school plays as children we relished to be a part of, never mind the forgotten lines. The beauty of the theatre is in its imagination and take us on different journeys.
No, there's nothing there, honestly. Anyway, what's it? I'm a better friend than old Tintin here.
Uganda, a good place to make a fresh start. Let's start by getting some workers.
Meet Alex Mukulu, a renowned Ugandan playwright, actor, and possibly a closet politician. But that will come later in the show.
I'm a Ugandan. I am a theatre director. I'm in Uganda.
Alex is a man who doesn't mince words. He is quite blunt and has that tell you like it is way of talking. This attitude did impact his decision to leave Makerere University, where he was studying music, dance, and drama.
I ran out of the university. You see, I asked my lecturers where I was going to work after my education. And they said that I was going to be a cultural officer. And I said, what does a cultural officer do? And they told me that a cultural officer is the one who is responsible in every district for things like amayembe, emikeka, baskets, ebisero, emikeka, mats. So it's like you look after those kind of things. You organize women to do kuruka emikeka, to do chichi, bisero, embugo, ebintu amayembe, rubale. And I said, no way, that's not where I'm supposed to go. I left. What really made me snap and get out of there, I wanted them to examine me with my works, which they refused. And then they wanted me to do books of Wole Soyinka and Ruganda and so on. And I said, but these people just write like I do. And this is what I've done. I've written already. So why don't you give me points on this kind of work, my own work which I've done? That they said it's not the way the university works. So I said, I don't look back and say I was sorry to have gone out. Yeah, actually it gives me more strength to work even harder, because I have to compete with those people who have those papers. I have to compete with them, and for them they are relaxed because they have their papers, so they don't really work hard, and that way I get ahead of them.
Do you remember the saying, there are more than 9 ways to skin a cat? When it came down to being a great playwright and actor, this applied to Alex. He knew that he could do it, but Makerere University wasn't working out for him.
But I'm not saying people should not go to school, right? We all are different. The energies are different. The potentials are different. If it is school to have you succeed, then do it. So no one ever tried to even oppose me or ask me that what are you going to do with your life. Everybody would just say, that one, that is it, that's where. So I was lucky. It showed, it always showed that this was where I belonged.
After the break, we talked to Alex about his most popular play to date, 30 Years of Bananas. But before that, soon-to-be university students and graduates, listen up. Alex has a few words of advice for you.
So these students in Makerere University, most of them don't know actually what they want. And they go there, of course, to get the papers, to get the job, but not to get work. Because to work, you just wake up and start working. A job, you are told what to do. I wasn't going to Makerere to look for a job. I was there only to see if what they had would add to what I was already doing.
Coming up.
And a lot of other people achieved really very little. And as a nation, we achieved very little from 1962 to 1990.
In 1992, Alex Mukulu presented a theatrical masterpiece, 30 Years of Bananas. According to Alex, the play traces Uganda's history, which is a path that the people and the country took, voluntarily or otherwise. The lead character is a Rwandese refugee who sees the history of the country through neutral eyes. It has been 16 years since the debut of 30 Years of Bananas. The play has been Alex Mukulu's most successful to date.
I think it was about the boldness which had been denied our society for a long time. No one had ever spoken about our presidents in the public, right? And on top of that, bring their caricatures on stage. No one had ever done that. Not because I'm more brave than everybody, but because the time allowed us to do that. That was around 1988, 1990, when the NRM had just come in. So this was the honeymoon of this regime. And during that honeymoon, everybody said what they wanted. I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that what we have done in 30 years, other countries have done in only 5 years. Because they have peace, they have, they progressed a lot more than we did. So, and I decided to use our political history in terms of the regimes we went through to bring about that statement that what we did in 30 years, a sober country would have done in only 5 years. That's the reason I wrote that play.
Alex is not one to take a break from the profession that was and still is his passion. He is known to write a play every year. We had to ask him about the first play he wrote, that is, if he can remember.
My first play was about my grandfather. No. It was about Muzukuru wa Kabangala. Muzukuru wa Kabangala is the grandson of Kabangala, and Kabangala is my grandfather. So it was like a true story in one way or the other. But it was about, again, a child, a young boy who gets out of the norm, the normal, who doesn't follow the stream, who doesn't go down with the river, but goes up against it. And I think in a way, that was me. So most people think that we writers, I go to places and I say, people say don't talk because he will write a play about us. No. And I think people who do that write very simple plays. Plays are born out of ideas that have been nurtured and grown in one's mind for a long time. It's like birth. 9 months, the child has to come out. I think an idea also has a certain time when it has to come out in a big way.
Let's face it, for many of us, if it came down to going to the theatre or the cinema, we would choose the cinema. But that could just be me. Does Alex feel that Ugandans are returning to theatres in strong numbers?
Ugandans are not returning to theatre in bigger numbers. No place in the world has people turning to theatre in bigger numbers. I don't want people to say that I'm the one who encouraged them to go to theatre. Let them choose for themselves. Why did the theatre die? How many theatres do we have here today? La Bonita only. National Theatre is a commercial center now. It is a wedding meeting center. It's not theatre. There is only this theatre factory trying to give it blood.
Can you explain to me in detail how that money missed from a brand?
We are happy to see you here. We are happy to have you here.
La Bonita is the only place, here where the infrastructure, the setting, the chairs are, very beautiful. The outside is very beautiful, but inside, what is happening is not that beautiful. Theatre, as we people in the theatre, we must do something very revolutionary in order to get different results. But otherwise, As far as I'm concerned, as far as theatre is concerned today, there is nothing. It is on drip. But when it comes back, it's not going to come back on that, in that normal setting of the picture frame stage, you know? No. And I think that is the greatest limitation of theatre. That stage. That stage has killed. People are tired of that stage. Even the actors themselves have written all sorts of plays in every angle on that particular stage. There is no new angle anymore on that kind of stage. And that's the mistake Labonita did. He came back again with that stage. National Theatre has been with that stage since 1959. So we have been on that stage, coming from down, coming from up, coming from the sides, coming from where. Yeah, I'm sure even the stage is fed up of us. So I think if we have to revive theatre, we have to change the stage.
In November 2007, Alex Mukulu put up a spectacular performance for the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. The performance was different, unexpected, but entertaining.
One, two, three.
Dois, três. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You know, we got a standing ovation. So that is the audience's reaction. Then, about the idea, the presentation. This is what I'm telling you. These things you can't know. We went out there to start rehearsing. No one knew. I didn't know what I was going to do. And we had a committee on our necks, you know. So they gave us a very short time to ripen this idea. When they told us that the venue is in the conference center and that the Queen is supposed to sit this way and the audience is supposed to sit that way, and the stage must be in the round. Now, because of our upbringing and experience on the picture frame stage, where the actors are this way and the audience is there, we argued that the venue is not right and the seating is not right. The Queen should change and sit that way so that we come in like this, as we are used to. They said the Commonwealth, that seating, you don't change that seating. That's the way they have been sitting since King George. Since when, I don't know. I remember we met the First Lady and I asked her that at the end of the day, what do you want us to have said? And she said, I want to see that you have said we have come so far. And now here we are ready for the future. The stage was different. And in the stage being different, we managed to do different acts, which have never been done on the theater, this kind of stage we know. So, when you say that you saw something different, you begin from there. The difference was right from the setting, the stage in the round. Have you ever seen a play in the round? So that was the first one. And the second one is going to be again from us in July. Yeah, in July we are bringing it back. We want the people now to see it because everybody is saying, well, sir, we didn't see it, but they said it was very good. We are now going to do something larger than even that.
Coming up,
what we want to fight are our cultural norms, which are not democratic. And here you see people fighting a wrong enemy.
write from your own passion, your own truth. That is the only thing you really know about, and anything else leads you away from the pulse, yours or anyone else's. We are sometimes held back on telling the truth to avoid hurting others or worried about what they may think of us. This does apply to playwrights who will touch lightly on many topics without going in deep. We asked Alex why this was the case.
It's culture, not fear of saying the truth, but it is the culture that has made people not to things. So I would advise anybody that if you have a strong statement to tell people, get your pen, put it down, and as soon as you finish putting it down, don't exaggerate it, don't amplify it, leave it there.
Our conversation does take a turn into politics. Could Mr. Mukulu be a closet politician?
Now, when I see ourselves, struggling for democracy, that as if the ballot box will bring democracy. No, the ballot box is not democracy. What we want to fight are our cultural norms, which are not democratic. And here you see people fighting a wrong enemy. But we have a lot of norms that are not democratic, and we follow them under our cultural institutions, and they stop us from exercising the democracy the world wants to see.
With the success of Chogam Alive in the air, Alex has plans for something different.
Very few people will have the chance I had to have the Queen in the audience, the President, the other government leaders, ambassadors, delegates, you see. So now I'm at another level as a result of that experience. Now I know where I have to start. Very good to have a standard you come to acting or doing a lesser standard. So I'll always be above that standard, or otherwise I'll not do anything again. Okay? I'll be like these guys who went in the World War back out now, those veterans. When they came back here, they refused to do any other job because they had fought the World War. Why should they do anything less? To grow coffee when you are coming from the World War. But most of them were cooks. But they never really fought. But they come back here and tell us that we can't do anything. We were on top of the world. I hope I don't take that route, yeah. My mother was a very controversial woman. She was always by herself. She never mingled with people. So I think I take that from her. Then she was hot-tempered, which I had to fight. I had to fight. I still have some elements, aspects of it. Then my father was an authoritarian, was a chief. He took no nonsense, and he was very, arrogant because he was a rich man among poor people. So he didn't care about people in terms of what he wanted to do. He would do whatever he wants to do. So I think I borrowed some of those things. I always do what I want to do. I don't care much about what you think. My father died a long time when I was, and when he died, my mother almost, she also psychologically died, She went into alcoholism, you know, until she died again. So, and our family setting was not very, very what? Let me use the simple word, organized as such, like mother, father, children, uncles, aunties. No, we were always apart. Albert Camus, the outsider, because I always thought there was something wrong with me in terms of what I always wanted to do, because I was always away from other people. Yeah? Until I read that book, then I realized that I'm not alone. You see, so that really gave me strength and confidence that you can be like that. You are not just abnormal, you are okay.
Before we leave Alex Mukulu, we had to ask, what legacy would he like to leave?
I don't expect to do anything more than writing my plays and producing them. All I expect is to work with more young people, train them, give them my experience, and let them go out and get their livelihood out of that training. So for me, I would want to say that I've already written my legacy. I don't think I can do anything much more than what I've already done. But if I do it, thank God. But if I don't, my dear, I have paid my dues. I hope I don't die tomorrow.
Thank you for watching, and join us again next week. Write to us at profiles@ntvuganda.co.ug.
NTV, turning on your world.
Tuwaye webale nnyo okutwegattako yonna gy'osinzira. Tolowooza nti ebintu gwe wekka gwe bitambulira obubi. Eriyo n'abalala, naye tukkirize mu buli mbeera tujja kubeera bulungi, tujja kukola tutuuke ku bye tuluubirira. Olwaleero ku bench ninawo omusajja mujjanjabi yamaze ebbanga ery'emyaka egitali 10, egitali 20, egitali 3 ng'ajjanjaba abantu. Musajja bamunyumyako yasooka okuvaayo wano okumpi n'ayimirira n'anyumya nti kansa asobola okuwona ng'omuntu ajjanjabiddwa ng'amujjanjabye akozesa eddagala ery'obutonde. Dr. Victor Kyewalabye ajja kutubuulira gye yasomera obwa dokita. Nsanyusa okukulaba. Webale kujja. Obwa dokita wabusomerawo?
Obwa dokita obwange si busoma.
Esebo.
Obwa dokita obwange buzaale mu kika kyaffe eky'ekkobe. Omuwulira omusajja omuzira ennyo gwe bayita Kyewalabye Kabyuma. Yali muzira nnyo ate nga mulwanyi wa ntalo. Kati n'oyo mwe tuva ne tusaasaanira Uganda n'ebweru. Abamu bali mu Amerika, abalala bali mu Sudaani wano, abalala bali
ova mu layini yennyini ey'omukulu oyo.
Abalala bali Zaire, abalala bali wano Kisumu, Kenya.
Bakolayo ki?
Balemerayo. Ate omuntu agenda ebweru n'alemerayo, bangi nnyo abalemerayo.
Baba bagudde mu byanfuna kyekye.
Mu byenfuna ate abalala nabalaba ng'obulamu bweno bwakoma otajja kubusobola.
Kati olwo obwa dokita n'obufuna otya?
Kati obwa dokita ewaffe tetuli basamize naye bwa musaayi, kuba Kyewalabye okulwana entalo ezo Kabaka yali akagabayo abagabe 6 okulwana essaza eryo baliwangula ery'Obuweekula. Naye Kyewalabye yalina amadagala ge yakozesanga, era essaza okuliyita Buweekula kyava kuba nti yalwana olutalo ng'omusajja omunyola alina kujja mwana mu mugongo okuweekula kwe kujja omwana mu mugongo n'omuteeka wansi nti weekula omwana owone ejje lya Kiwalabi
nga litabuse
yakozesanga abaana abato nga bakubisa enduulu n'abakyala nga tabakolako obulabe nga nabo abakubisa enduulu abasigadde abo bonna nga bakubisa eŋŋoma kati nga balowooza nti ejje lirimu abantu bayitirivu nnyo olw'enduulu n'eŋŋoma n'okulekaana okw'amaanyi kati omunyolo ng'adduka misinde weekula omwana
wetaase ejje lya Kiwalabi
ekirala wava n'olugero olumu oluga nti ndyomerayo kigambo kya lulimi lunyolo tinja kufiira mu mpuku bwe yatuukanga awali empuku ekyalema bali abaasooka bwe bayitangawo buyisi kati ekiro nga abanyolo bafubutuka mu mpuku nga batandika okubatta naye yamalanga kwetoloola lusozi lwonna bw'asangako empuku ng'akumawo omuliro awo ku mulyango ng'aguwujja nga baguwujja n'engoye n'ebyuma nga guyingira munda nga abali omwo bafiiramu ebbugumu ng'olusozi amala kulwetoloola n'alumalako wiikisi 2 naye nga bulina kubakuma omuliro kati olwo ng'amanya nti lwamaze okuluwamba ng'agenda ku lulala ng'akozesa ne herbal medicine oyo kati ffe waffe
yaleetangamu birungo kyolu herbal medicine
ebirungo ebyo webiri kati nga tugeze ne pulezidenti waffe ebyo ebimu abimanyi kubanga naye yalwana mu lutalo ng'ate ayitira eyo kati olutalo lulimu sayansi mungi
n'oweddagala lyennyini olwo batoloze
tikuba kuloga
kakati Kiwalabye ozaaliddwawo okusooka
okuzaalibwa kwennyini nzaalibwa Masaka naye nga bazadde bange baava wano Mawokota okugenda okusenga e Masaka ng'ekibatwalayo kulima mu myaka egyo ejana nga emmwanyi zitandise okulimibwa wano naye okuviira ddala e Mawokota baavaayo 1926 ebadde eri
e Masaka gy'oyigira eddagala ery'ekinnansi
ate eryaffe lino lyokugamba nti lyolironda bulungi kati bw'oba olirandani nga likulondeddeyo okomawo kuno
kati gwe lyalonda ggwa mu famire eyammwe
ate nange bwe naavaawo nga lyerondera so sigamba nti ndirekedde gundi
bwe nvayo ne ŋŋamba nti nzijjanjaba abantu nkiyize nkiyigidde ku bantu abalala mba nkyesibamu bwesibi nina kulondebwa
mu bantu abalala kisobola okubaawo kakati nange benjigiriza bajjanjaba abantu ne bawona nga mbayigiriza bamu bazungu abalala bawana
so oli Masaka otandise okujjanjaba abantu olwo gyotandikira
kakati okutandikira ddala kyali mu 1980 mu biseera by'olutalo ne wabaawo mmeeja oyo yali musajja mulwanyi nnyo nga bamuyita Victor Bwana n'atusanga eyo n'atulonda n'atunyonyola siyasa nga bweyinza okutambula
siyasa eriwe ya
NRM kati nampa okubeera akuŋŋaanya abavubuka mu kitundu bayingire tulwanyise effugabbi eryaliwo yalina emmeeja omu oba akyaliwo meeja Bahindi n'omulala nga bamuyita Meeja Male ne kaadi omulala nga bamuyita Bifiira Munda n'omulala nga bamuyita Baganda Nswa kati n'alyoka atutendeka nze nampa okubeera coordinator omutabaganya w'ekijaasi n'abantu aba bulijjo ne tutandika omulimu
mwegabidde rankaawo
tewali ranka ze twegabye wabula bifo
mugenze kwegatta ku struggle
ne tugibeereramu ddala kati ng'olutalo luwedde era yannoonya najja oyo Victor Bwana najja nanyunga ku musajja era akakasa akyaliwo omwami oyo n'amuleeta ewange n'aŋŋamba nti omwami ono mukukwasizza kubanga era nali mu lutalo nga ngaba eddagala abantu be bakubya amasasi nga ffe tubajjanjaba amasasi bwe bamala okugajjamu
nga gwokwata eddagala lyoyenga
naye nga kyetusooka okubanyonyola nti nga bakakukuba essasi fuuyisaawo omusulo gwo omusulo oddagala nnyo gutta tetanasi
kitegeeza n'omusumaali bwe gukufumita
obusobolera okuteekawo ekyo kati n'obeera nti tikikutwalira nnyo galaama naye ng'abantu abafunye ebiwundu eby'amaanyi twabatungisanga bugoogwa
buno wennyini akagoogwa kemmanyi
akagoogwa ako tekatana kalimu omunnyo kati twatungisanga bugogwa
olwo kayisa mu mpiso ki
nga tuyina engeri gye tukolamu okozesa jirita n'osala bwoti wano n'oludda n'okola bwoti akagogwa ne kabanga eddiba olisala kuba eddiba lino ggumu
g'osala tafa bulumi olwo
tusalawo bwetuti nitulyoka tuyisaamu tusalawo bwetuti nitulyoka tuyisaamu ne tubatunga era nga bawona ebyolutalo bibeeramu ate okuseka kukolera ddala ng'oli faamaani
kati kirowooza bano abali mu gavumenti bakumanyi nga dokita waabwe w'ebiseera
abamu
bakumanyi
abamu bantegeera bulungi
kati olwo ovuddeyo ebyolutalo
biwaayo waliwo omwami gwe bayita Yakobo Mutanga kakasa akyaliwo yali mu kiseera kye babayitanga ba DA Yakobo Mutanga yabeerako e Masaka
district administrator
general Yakobo Mutanga wonna waali mwebaza nnyo kubanga yeyandeeta ekyambogo nankwasa ingini era nakati gyali bamuyita ingini ya Stephen Kanyana antendeke okufumba eddagala nga tiryonooneka ingini ya Stephen Kanyana gyali ekyambogo kati omukulu oyo naye mwebaza nnyo ingini ya Stephen Kanyana nantendeka nga nsula awo mu kizimbe kye bayita Nairo hostel ekyambogo kakati eyo nenkuguka bulungi Dr. Samson Kisekka omugenzi gye yansanga nandeeta mu kizimbe kino kyentunuulidde namba 205 kisenge
conference
center kati eyo nankolerayo ekiwandiiko ekiragiriza ebyuma ebisobola okulongoosa obulungi eddagala ebyuma byagenda okutuuka nga kuliko Prime Minister Adyebo
Cosmas
Adyebo yali mu binampa ebbaluwa ngitwalire Minister Richard Kayijuka kati Mr. Richard Kayijuka ebyuma ebyo bwe yajja yakozesa ebigambo bye sijja kwogera wano era ebyuma ebyo n'abitwala esyema Mwankole
omwogerako bituufu
bwentyo nenviiramu awo
bwakuyita oyinza mulumiriza
lwaki simulumiriza nina okukankana
ebyuma tewabifuna
saabifuna nebiraga eyo esyema Mwankole
kati bo babikozesa eki
bebamanyi naye mpulira gyebirera bikola disitulikiti ebiriko abazungu ababiriko
olwo oviiriddemu awo
nze saaviiramu awo kubanga obwongo bwange nabusigaza
amagezi otambula nago
amagezi gange ntambula nago yatwala byuma obwongo nasigala nabwo nebyenvumvudde ng'avudde kuba minisita bikyali bingi ate era nkyavumbula va kati we yantwalirako ebyuma nga nina ekiwalaata kati enviiri olaba zigenda zitaba zikomawo homoni ezaako enviiri nagivumbula
gozeekomezaawo enviiri zo ekiwalaata kya Dr.
Chewala eyo bwoba okutte bulungi njikulaga bulungi
gwe research tokolera ku mmese omwekolerako gwe
era nalina n'ebityuma muna abamumanyi ebintu ebyali byazimba mu Kenya naye kati bwoba otunudde nnyo tulaba wano kyali kityuma naye kati okirabamu
ddagala lya butonde
eriwonya ebintu ebyo bizimbye nerikola omulimu sikyalina tyuma mu Kenya abazirabangamu olumu basanga ne bambuuza naye ng'ofaananye muganda ogundi nga tebamanyi nti bagamba
nti gwe kennyini ye so research ono omukuzi otya otuuka otya n'okula ddala n'otandika okuba kyewalabye gwe tumanyi kati
neebaza nnyo ababa oyo omwami Yakobo Mutanga kuba bwantwala ekyambogo nasangayo abamu ku bazungu ba lecturers ne bandabamu ekitone nga mmaze okujjanjaba omulalu amanyiddwa ennyo mwenna abali ebbanda kireka n'awalala gwe bayita John anywa omusirikale wa poliisi yali mulalu ng'amaze butabika emyaka 17 nemuwa kadoozi katono nnyo naawona eddala n'okutuuka ku ssaawa ya leero asobola okuba obujulirwa nti yawona ku ddagala Uganda herbal medicine n'abalala abazze nga mbawonye eddalu bwe bali
eddalu baatugamba mbu baliroga bulozi bituufu oba bikyamu
eddalu terirogebwa bulogebwa erimu eddoge sikiwakanya naye erimu terijja buzzi mu ngeri eyo kiva ku musujja tugeze nga cerebral malaria oba okulowooza ennyo omuntu oba neyeekanga n'afuna shock ng'afunye ekimuleetedde obuzibu asobola okugwa eddalu
so n'omwami oyo bwe yali
omwami oyo saamanya nnyo kiki naye nga nasanga amaze butabika emyaka 17 balekyalazi bamukyambogo bonna bamutegeera bulungi.
Kati osobola okuyimirawo n'oga nti nze Kyewalabye mponya eddalu.
Si kuyimirirawo buyimirizi, njagala n'abantu nuulira mutunuulire, naye yennyini omwami asobola okujja naawe obujulirwa ate n'abeebutabika abaali bamumanyi ng'omulalu fayiro ze gye ziri ebutabika.
Oyo bwe yaggwa n'owonya bameka abalala?
Mponya bangi kubanga eyo nessinga omponyeza bangi abajja nga bagudde eddalu. Nembajjanjaba ne
otabula miti gino gye tulaba.
Miti gino gye ntabula. Ne gavumenti bw'eba egyetaaze kubanga tugirina kati tugeze nga gye tuyita Uganda Health Education Center NTV. Eddagala eriwonya eddalu gye riri.
Wildlife Education Center. UWEC. Omulakumira ebisolo mwegiri.
Mwegiri emiti egiwonya eddalu bagirina.
Towendula abantu ne balumba ekitongole ky'abantu. Kati tukomewo otandikirawo. Ndi ne Dr. Kyewalabye. Tukomawo. Katugende maaso nabagambye edda ndi ne Dr. Victor Kyewalabye, musawo akozesa eddagala ery'obutonde. Si bwe bakweyita?
Begiri.
Oba herbalist. Wanga bwa dokita ani yabukuwa?
Gavumenti yaffe sijagamba nti gundi yankakasa era ne bampa obwa dokita okusinziira ku mirimu gye nkoze n'abalwadde abawonye. Ate omuntu okumuwa obwa dokita oba obwa profesa obawo n'ebitabo by'owandiise so tibamala gakuba bifaafu oguto.
Research woinawo wamuteeka awo tulabeko.
Ekitabo kino kyange kya bwebange era ojja kulabawo ebigambo ebyo. Victor Herbalist Site.
Okay.
Esi bintu bya mu bbanga. Talaga byonna ebyo tugenze tuzuula n'endwadde ezirimu eziri.
Kati muno mwe muli kalonda ki olwo?
Mwe muli kalinga ka dictionary akakulaga nti oba olwadde tekankuwa ekyokulabirako nga wano. Buno obulwadde butawaanya nnyo abakyala. Tuyise adenocarcinoma.
Sobola kisoma gwo kisobola ekyo.
Adenocarcinoma, cancer that begins in cells that line certain internal organs and such have gradually secretory properties. Kati oyo cancer akwata nnyo amabeere.
Atawanya nnyo abakyala.
Atawanya abakyala. Waliwo ne prostate. Prostate tumwogereko.
Prostate cancer mpulira akwata nnyo abasajja.
Ate na tewina kumwewala kasobeera musajja. Saawa yonna oba omulindiridde. Ndabwe. Mweyewa amaanyi nnyo. Netubeera ne cancer omulala era ngono. Squamous cell carcinoma.
Bigambo naye nga biba bikakali.
Cancer that begins in squamous cell carcinoma, which are thin, flat cells that looks like a fish scale. Bigamba yolinga bwenkulaze ku mwalo oli.
So okunoonyereza kukola ku kansa kwe kuvaako kuwa bwa dokita.
Ekyo kyennyini.
Kansa ndaba okutta ebipande kuliko abakyala amabeere gali.
Kati ngono gwengendo okulaga.
Gali bubi bulala.
Yali bubi nnyo. Bwe bamuleetera nga toyinza kukikkiriza nti ayinza okuwona. Omukyalo ono yalina n'ensiribu ogiraba.
Nga balowooza ddogo.
Bo nga Abafirika baakirowooza bwe bati. Balowooza nti ddogo.
Ne bamuteekamu ensiribu.
Bwe yajja ne mugamba nti ensiriba tayinza kuwonya kansa. N'olwekyo ensiriba gyeggyemu era wano mumulaba nga talina nsiriba.
Otandise omujjanjaba.
Era ensiriba gye nasooka okumugamba nti ojja kulowooza nti ensiriba yekuwonyezza.
Kati ono kansa ogaye gwe bayita batya?
Bamuyita squamous cell carcinoma.
Akwata squamous cells z'ogambye.
Natta cells zino zonna. Ate n'abanga alya nga agaziwa nnyo. Kakati wano nga tumaze okumujjanjaba ateredde.
Olwekyo kyatwala bbanga ki okumutuusa wano?
Kyatwala emyezi 4 gyokka.
Ekiwundu kire kinene ne kivaawo.
Ne kiba nga kivuddewo. Nate eddagala liba likola ku sipiidi. Naye ffe tukuwa emyezi 6 bwe tuba tukujjanjaba kansa. Kati oluvannyuma lw'emyezi 4 yasigala ku treatment okulabika nti obuwuka tebukomawo. Era kati bwe twogerera ayina abaana 6, enzaalo 6.
yaddamu n'ayonsa
lirino lyennyini nga liyonsa ne feesi ye gyetegereza eyo. Tetukola bintu bya bulimba mu Victor Herbal Research Association. Tujjanjabya abantu n'okuva mu university ezimu nga California University
ng'ebirwadde bibalemeddeko.
Yes. California University kiri mu America, Blasco University kisangibwa mu Belgium, Minani University kisangibwa mu Italy. Abo bonna batutegeera bulungi kati.
Bakugu bajja eno mu Uganda.
Bajja ne balaba bye tukola. Ne basigala nga beewuunya lwaki Makerere University si be bandibadde abasaale. Wano Mpazi University emu, Nkozi University baleeta omulwadde w'ekibumba, abo tubeebaza nnyo era batukakasa. Yali amaze emyaka 15 omwana oyo bwe bajja Nkozi University.
Wani amuleeta Professor Kanyandago.
Lecturer ayitibwa Katongole.
Katongole mumanyi.
Ya omubuuzanga Lecturer Katongole tumwebaza nnyo yatulaga amaanyi n'akakasa herbal medicine is a real medicine.
Katongole yanyumiza nnyo ku ddagala ly'ekinnansi nelwakuba nti nga bw'omanyi tweyuniranye ebyekisawo ekizungu. Dr. Kiwalabi tubuulire ku kansa. Kansa kyembala njagala otubuulire biki ebireeta kansa? Tuwulira kansa.
Kati ku mulembe nga guno kansa aleetebwa obulwadde buno obwajja tugeze nga lymphoma cancer bwe tubala okwogerako aleetebwa HIV. HIV mulimu emitendera 16. Emitendera gya kansa ow'amaanyi ennyo giri 16. Waliwo gwe tuyita Kaposi's sarcoma. Oyo naye ava mu HIV. Akwata mu bitundu bino katufune omukisa akwata mu bitundu ebyo n'ebyekyama natubeye Kaposi's sarcoma.
Akyusa lususu.
Kati omukulu ono sijja kumubalaga face ye yali alwadde Kaposi's sarcoma. Mulaba n'ekigere nga kyeyasizza. Kakati wano timulaba nga yenna ateredde entende. Nolwekyo gwoba olina Kaposi's sarcoma leka kulowooza nti yenkomerero y'okufa okyasobola bulungi okuwona. HIV akyusakyusa atya omubiri ne guba nga gukkiriza kansa amangu? Obeera tokyalina omubiri n'omusaayi bwe tuyita cells gube buweddemu amaanyi. N'olwekyo bwakukwata amenya mu jjenje ekkalu.
Asanga nga white blood cells abasirikale abakuuma
bonna nga bagonvu nnyo. Kale aweewula buweewuzi naddala mu bitundu by'e Kansanga. Kansa ono abaddewo mungi Kaposi's.
Lwaki?
Waliwo abantu ab'ebika bingi abazungu abava mu west
kwegamba
West Africa bonna bali awo. Olwekyo awo abaddewo mungi nnyo.
Ono akwata bwe nkusemberera akwata kikyo
ava mu kwegatta.
Anti okwegattera katuba tukufunye body contact.
Body contact kyekyo kyennyini naye tayinza kugwako bugwi nga nswera.
So bwembeera n'omuntu ng'ono ne musemberera nkwata?
Takwata kubanga oba tiweegasse naye.
Ava mu kwegatta kukka.
Mu kwegatta wasingira. Era ndowooza mubalaba babonaabona nnyo naye ffe tubajjanjaba ne bawona. Kati ng'abakyala twandibawadde amagezi gavumenti efuddeyo nnyo okubayamba ng'ebagamba nti mukozese kondomu nazo nezireeta mu ggwanga naye bannantabulira zibibu gye bali.
Abantu tebazaagala.
Kati mu kugenda live kansa oyo bwakukwatako engalo owolomera ddala nnyo kubanga ku ludda lw'abakyala kambalageko ebimu ebitonotono.
Asobola okutta ono omuntu mu bbanga nga ki?
Mu bbanga lya myezi 3 aba amaze okutta kubanga engeri gy'agenda ku sipiidi empitirivu. Akoona mangu olabye ensigo bwazikutteko ate ensigo n'ekibumba si bye bintu by'oyinza okugamba nti obizanyirako. kakati kandage ku bakyala bannaffe kati omukyala ng'ono yajja ayina kaposhesh sakoma nga bwe tunnyonnyodde ng'avuddemu HIV.
Lwaki mu nsi ezimu naddala ezetuga nti zaakulakulana bagamba nnyo nti kansa tawona?
Obwo bunafu bwa kumanya kwabwe ekireetera omuzungu ye bw'aba tannazuula kintu tayinza kakasa nti waliyo omulala asobola okukizuula. Kati enkulaganga kino omuzungu tayinza kukkiriza nti ekibumba kiwona.
Ono omwana
bwa kibumba
yali afunye buzibu ku kibumba.
Ekibumba naye kati ffe twamuwa habo tomulaba tateredde. Era njagala mbanyonyolera kino olusozi Himalaya baga nti omuzungu yasooka waggulu ku ntikko ekyo kya bulimba. Omuddugavu ye yalinnya n'atuukira ddala waggulu eri naye olwokuba baali bagenda balinnya balina omuguwa n'akanyugira ono omuzungu omuguwa n'alyoka amusika n'atuuka ku ntikko. Bagamba nti omuzungu yakola ki?
Batwefuulirako weefuuzi nti bagezi.
Omuzungu oyo bwe yali afudde yaleka bwino n'agamba nti omuddugavu ye yamukanyugira omuguwa.
Kati naawe olina omuguwa gw'oweereza.
Omuguwa guguno ayagala okugulaba kansa awonera ddala completely. N'oyo omulaba nti kansa naye ate kati mulabe ng'omukono guteredde
n'amala n'awonera ddala. N'olwekyo gwe afunye omukisa okulaba NTV ekuggyeko ekizikiza era bwe neetwala omulimu guno mu maaso Afrika yonna eneeba egizibudde amaaso. Lindako tugenda kudda oyongere okutangaza ku nsonga ya kansa eno. Tukyagenda maaso ne tuwaye ndi ne Dr. Victor Kyewalabye. Katugende mu maaso ndi ne Dr. Victor Kyewalabye. Owaye kansa ono otulaze obujulizi bungi abalwadde bojjanjabe bowonye ndaba ne kino kikino kitiisa nnyo. Ani akukakasa nti kati Dr. Kyewalabye asobola okuwonya kansa?
Kati akakasa bangiko kubanga bajja ne bandaba ne kati tugeze nga mu California University abo bankakasa dda balese n'abalwadde baabwe ne mbajja mu Will Cares California University bakakasa bulungi. Nkozi University
ya
Uganda eyo nayo kakasiza ddala bulungi nti mponya kansa kubanga kyamukisa mulungi ogambye nti lecture oyo Katongole Dr. Katongole omwana oyo gwe yaleeta yali amaze enkozi emyaka 15 ng'abonyaabonyezebwa obulwadde naye kati musajja nguvu yawona bulungi obulwadde bwa liver cirrhosis.
Walukyenadde nkubuuza wali ebisinga okuvaako kansa mu kulaba okuku obadde mu research ebbanga ddene biki ebisinga okuvaako kansa?
Ebivaako kansa endya nayo ereeta kansa.
Abantu babuulire bw'olya kintu nga ki?
Si kintu nti kekivaako endya embi nga bolaba beeruweta obulwadde bayita kwasako.
Yes.
Kakati endya embi n'ebifo kati tugeze nga wano kansa gwensinza okujjanjaba tumusanze Katwe, Kinyolo, Makerere, Kivulu Nakulabye kansa tujjanjabye omungi. Oyo kansa yali mu katundu ako tumuyita onchocerciasis. Kansa yasinga kusangibwa nnyo e Zaire. Ate kati kansa oyo atinse nnyo mu Northern Region ne Sudan.
Abantu bwe balya obubi.
Si kulya bubi oyo asinga kuva mu bifo ebikyafu. Waliyo akaswera. Akaswera ko ke bayita onchocerciasis. Bwe kakuluma n'okubawo bwoti wajja omusaayi. Kati awo amagi kabiikiddewo mangi nga gasaasaana.
We kalumye.
Kakati nga kalyo kakabuna omusaayi ku sipiidi ya kizungirizi. Naye nga kasangibwa nnyo mu bibira by'omu Zaire. Ate wano ne kabeera nnyo e Sudan kati.
Ate Nakulabye kwekawa mu bikyafu awo.
Mu bukyafu, mu bintu ebikyafu. Kati mu bintu ebikyafu ebyo kabeeramu nnyo. N'olwekyo akawuka ako Northern Region singa gavumenti ekkiriza yandibadde bakwatirako ne basasulira ssente mu Victor Herbalist Research Association kano ke kawuka ke twogerako onchocerciasis.
Ndaba kakubye skin yonna
n'amaaso nga gazibye. Kati omwana ono yayambibwa ekitongole kye bayita World Vision. Bamujja Kamengo
kulwa Masaka.
Kakati wano batumaze okumuwa herbal medicine. Ndio mulaba. Era n'ekigambo wano nakiteekawo World Vision. Kubanga be bamusasulira sente. Tulina okubeebaza.
Naye olayiko oli wa bbeeyi.
N'ebitongole ebirala singa bivaayo ne biyambanga bano omulimu gujja kutambula.
Ekirala kyo kireeta kansa, Dr. Kyewalabye.
Ekirala ekireeta kansa obutajjanjaba ndwadde tugeze nga kabootongo, gonorrhea, n'otamujjanjabira mu kiseera ekituufu ofunamu kansa. Yes. Kati gonorrhea oyo naye aleeta obulwadde. Ne syphilis avaamu kansa.
Birwadde nga
kansa asinga kusangibwa buluuli. Kubanga abantu b'e Buluuli
akwata kyono
era mulaba kutta amagulu gonna. Abantu b'e Buluuli lwaki bafunye nnyo kansa ono gwe tuyise ulcerative lwa nsonga nti banywera wamu n'ebisolo. Amazzi ge banywa n'ebisolo bye ganywa. Kale gavumenti erina okuvaayo bukukubira. Ate kati kansa ono abaamuzuula Munaggana, Dr. Munaggana ye yazuula kansa
era naye wakinnansinga ggwe
wa kizungu
medical bali
medical nagalya Dr. Mutendeko bulungi. Wano tulina obuzibu.
Kati nono naye omujjanjaba
simulabako era ye Buluuli bangi abavuddeyo nembajjanjaba kansa w'amagumba ne bawona.
Batugamba nti ebintu byetukozesa bye bakolera makolere ennaku zino nga sabbuuni
kankuwena ebitali ebintu byetusiiga. Kati kankuwa ekyokulabirako tulina abasawo baffe ab'ebyobulamu naye tibatuyambye kimala. Kati nze waliwo wemanyi obulungi wesijja kwogera naye ng'oli asiikisa butto n'amuzzaamu emirundi 8. Songa butto yandisiikise omulundi gumu oba asigaddewo n'omuyiwa naye n'amusiikisa ebintu emirundi 8 gwazzaamu. Ebintu ebisiike ng'ebyo bireese nnyo kansa.
Kwegamba butto ono agenda akola ekirungo eky'okutwa
abana abalya ennyo chips
fast foods.
Kati butto yajja n'ayitira mu mubiri n'aleeta obulwadde bwe tuyita rheumatism. Abantu ne bazimba muno ne bazimba ebigere muno oba butto okuyitirira mu mubiri ate mu chips obisena bwoti nga bamulinze bangi nga butto agenderamu endyange eyo eyongera kuleeta ndwadde eza kansa. Sivumirira butto naye gwe amukozesa obubi gwaleetera banne obulwadde obwa kansa.
Tulya ki dokita biki ebiyinza
singa tuddayo ku ndya eyaffe ey'okufumba mu ngeri ya boil ng'ebintu tetubisiise tujja kubabalamu nnyo.
Tetuwulya ku magi masiike.
Amagi osobola n'ogasiisa amazzi oba badde tokimanyi. Yes. Mazzi ne gakyamuka bulungi
nenjiwamu ejjinga
libanga lyosikisiza butto
liwooma eryo
liwoomera ate bataddemu mu nnyo.
Abantu bava ku by'okusiikasiika
nga bava ku by'okusiika ne tuddayo ku mbeera yaffe tujja kubabalamu.
Dokita abantu babulire ku bintu bya plastic bino bangamba plastic oyo butwa
bwennyini kiringanga era gali amabaati abazungu ge baatuleeteranga
asbestos. Twagawona ago
twagawona naye nago gaali butwa bw'amaanyi.
Ekikopo kya plastic ogenda n'okifuna kimyufu naye wayitawo omwezi nga kyerusi
n'ebirala ebiringa ebyo
langi ng'oginywedde yonna.
Titujja kugenda nnyo mu ebyo kuba bannannyini makampuni ate bawa omusolo guyimirizaawo eggwanga n'olwekyo bwe tubagenda ennyo ewala
bajja kugamba naye bino bya bulamu abantu balina okumanya ekituufu ekiriwo.
Ekituufu kiri luddawa.
Kansa ono omaze ebbanga ki kati ng'okakasa nti osobola okuwonya?
Kituuka emyaka 30.
Ye risaaki gy'oliko?
Nga kansa w'ekibumba, kansa w'enshigo, nakati kya mukisa mulungi naleesewo wano omuwala nga yali alwadde kansa wa nsigo kidneys naye nga jjanjabirwa mulago ne birema n'agendako eddwaliro lyaffe lino ery'Emmengo Namirembe ne birema nze ne mubaka ne mukwatako kati wanzaalo ezi
buli omu awona dokita
omuntu azze nga obudde tibunayita nnyo awona naye bwabaawo bwojjanga ekintu kiri waasi kisusse obwomulamuzi ne mu kizungu bwogenda nga bukyali obulwadde buwona naye bwogenda kisusse obwomulamuzi obulwadde tibuwona
mmanya dde nti kansa nnuma
ogenda mu ddwaliro eddene ng'emulago ne bakuggyako akanyama ne bakuteeka mu ka tv ne bamanya buli kimu oba mu x-ray waliyo badokita nga dokita mbidde
kyamuyita biopsy
nojja oba Namirembe oba Nsanja hospital novayo nebbaluwa kubanga sijjanja batalina bbaluwa era nawalimba kulaze
waliwo atagendangako mu ddwaliro eryo
mwamagezi nti genda bamala okukebera ojje nebbaluwa tutegeere ekika kya kansa kyolina kuba bwe tutegeera ekika kya kansa okujjanjaba kuba easier kuba nina kyemanyi nti omuti gundi guwonya kansa kika gundi omuti gundi guwonya kansa kika gundi
teweewanye
seewanye njogera fact
emiti gino ogijjawo
emiti tugirina wano mu Uganda ne kati tutandise okugisaanyaawo tugeze nga kansa gwe tuyita prostate cancer
wabasajja
oyo emiti egisinga tugijja Bwindi kisangibwa Kisoro district
ewali amazike eri tumanyiyo mazike
ewali eddagala eriwonyaki ne tubeera ne Kaposi Shakoma eddagala eryo lisangibwa wano Bushenyi mu kibira kye bayita Malamagambo forest
gyogendayo n'ekikapu n'onoga
nenkolagana n'abaayo ne tukolagana ne tulireeta nojjosanga sukaali era sukaali yo tulijja Dodoma Tanzania
mu Buganda tewali miti wano oyo
bali bagirira
tujokezaamu amanda
naye amanda nago gakoze kinene okutufiiriza naye wabaawo ekitundu nti kino kirimu ddagala bwe liti kakati nojjosanga gwe tuyita olufuba asima eri eddagala lisangibwa nnyo mu bitundu by'ettoolo Kasheeshe eddagala lingi ne ku lusozi lw'Enzooli lingi nnyo eritalaba ku asima naye nawano mu Buganda mweriri ettonotono naye nga bw'otuuka eri Kamaala n'osanga kansa azimbya n'abaana tuyita cervical cancer n'abaana najjamamu eri eddagala lisangibwa nnyo wano ebusoga
ne cervical cancer omukolako
kumujjanjaba nnyo okujjako yayagala okuyita mu bwangu agenda emulago n'abaana ne bagijjamu naye ffe n'abaana bo omusigaza ate kitwala weeks 2 nga tewakyali breeding
doctor
weeks 2 zokka oba tokyalina
emiti gy'okozesa gya magiki
ate gya magiki weeks 2 oba tokyalina breeding n'ogenda mu maaso ne kosi nakugamba nti ffe kosi tugaba ya myezi 6
yeti eyo mitenderamu mugabira eddagala
myezi 6 bwe omaze okuwonera ddala completely nga tokyaddayo gandi ate bwakomyewo tolaba bwenkula zaabo bonna abakansa babuusa baana abamu
naye nga olabika oli wa buseere bulala abalwadde bakola batyawo
obuseere wabula gamba amafuta gali ku buseere
okukima emiti
okukima eddagala kubanga tituyinza gamba nti tunaalyetikka ku mutwe kati awo obuzibu we bujjira
olwo ddoozi bwe mba nzize olwonkwata mu nsawo n'ensikamu mmeka
kisinziira ku bbaluwa gy'ozze nayo okuva mu ddwaliro ne tumanya siteegi w'oyimiridde kakati akuba ekyokulabirako ng'ono omuwala yali afunye kansa gwe tuyita esteroprosis kigambo kiikyo
bizibu ebigambo ebyo
kansa ono awummula amagumba oba ogafuulanga powem empumbu naye bw'ojja mu Victor Herbalist Research Association oba owonye kati omukyalo ono yawona dda era akola mirimu gye
amagumba gatereera
kebererawo ddala bulungi wuuno saagate kumulaga feesi ye ono omukyala musomesa tica asangibwa wano kumpi emukono musomesa omutendeke naye laba omukono bwe gwali gugenda okumutuusa kuleenya y'okufa
kiki ekireeta kansa ono akunyakunya amagumba
kansa ono nze bw'omala okuntegeeza nti bwe mmala okukebera ku bbaluwa ng'eriko ekigambo kino manya bumanya nti olinamu TB ow'amagumba nze ku lwange nga nze manya bumanya nti olinamu TB ow'amagumba kati ntabula eddagala ly'amagumba nendigattamu n'erya TB nga nkuwanga onywa ng'owona.
Myezi 6.
Myezi 6.
Wafunyeyo ebyuma by'oyinza okukozesa?
Kaakati nga NTV bwevuddeyo obukuukubira neeraga ensi nti kansa awona, era yeemu yejja okutuyamba okufuna ebibiina binaani government organizations ne gavumenti naye tukwatireko tufune ebyuma tuleme okulagiriza eddagala ebweru ng'ate eddagala eriwonya tulirina mu ggwanga lyaffe.
Wagaye baani abakukakasa nti owonya kansa?
University, California University mu America.
Bwe tubakubira kati oba ne tugendayo
bakikakasa. Ate nze nkankana n'abalwadde bennajjanjaba abamu gye bali ba lecturers.
Ate obwa honorary doctor wogambye ani yabukuwa mu butongole?
Mu butongole Uganda gavumenti ya Uganda gwolabye njeganyi. Sijeganyi.
Webale kujja. Otukoye omanye obulwadde buluma abantu doctor. Olw'olumu ndeetayo ku basawo nga mmwe ne muwa ku bantu amagezi.
Ate nange nebazi gavumenti okuleeta enkulaakulana ng'eno n'essaawo TV ez'obwannakyewa
neno gyoyogera ebigambo
kati ng'eno yennyini ekoze ky'amaanyi lino ttaffaali ddene nga tugenda mu kyasa ekya nga twefuze ng'ate ne
mwaka ogwa
50 nga ne Makerere University ebadde tennavaayo nga NTV bwe muvuddeyo kindaze nti mwajja kuyamba ggwanga.
Webale nnyo okujja. Oyo abadde Dr. Victor Kiwalabye mujjanjabi akozesa eddagala ery'ekinnansi agamba nti yawonya kansa ajjanjaba n'ebintu ebirala ebiringa ebyo. Badde muleese abeeko yayongera okutangaaza ku bulwadde buno buyitibwa kansa. Kale okutuusa omulundi omulala nze Franco Lusimbi mbeere bulungi.
This is NTV.
This week on the Art and Design Show, we took a look at the unique art of producing pictures from banana fibers. And the Ugandan dance community joins the world in celebrating the International Dance Day. These and more stories coming up. On the Art and Design Show, we have featured many accomplished artists from the push workshops and humble homes. Today, we're going right down to the extreme end to discover an artist with a unique gift of making pictures from banana fibers. On the outskirts of Kampala, in the slums of Banda, amidst the pounding music from the video houses and shrieking kids, we meet Fipo Kabale. Fipo is an artist who has specialized in working with natural materials like sisal, reeds, clay and fibers.
I got the idea from my teacher who was teaching us in O-level. He had a very good portrait of his. Yes. Then when I looked, I went and got ideas from him. So he recommended me also to do it even in my O-level exams. When I was young, we used to do art, and when we went on growing. So I didn't just pick interest, but it's natural in me. I'm an artist. Whatever I do, I use art.
Fipo has been working with fibers for the last 7 years. Even though he finds them unique and inexpensive, they are more challenging than paints because the artist does not have the liberty of colors to bring out the different features portrayed.
When you are using paint and when you are using fibers, you are using one principles and elements of art. So through using elements of art and principles, fibers, I would say they are cheaper, more cheaper than paint. Yes. And what I would say, paint does not take more time, but with fibers, the concentration can take a full month when you've not completed, especially ladies. When you are designing a lady's portrait, it takes a lot of time.
So Fipo has to make use of the light and dark shades of the fibers to give each picture its individuality.
Since light travels in a straight line, someone's face, it is not flat. So it has some depths, it has some corners. So whenever light comes, somewhere where there is dark and where there is a depth, there is no light. So I put it according to the texture of someone's face.
While a painter can sit at his canvas and put out a painting in a day, for Fipo, the process of completing a portrait would take no less than 2 months.
So what I start with is getting exactly a portrait of that very person I'm going to design. I get it. I study it for some time. After that, I can also even I redesign it to enlarge it, because most of the time I get small pictures, but I do enlarge it up to the size I want. Yes. Then I start by designing the face. Yes. A face takes a lot of time, but other parts can be easy.
Each particular picture has its own intricacies which have to be addressed by the artist.
Since ladies don't stick on natural hair, they create some other types of hair which makes it difficult to design. Like especially when a lady has braids. Yes, it's difficult to design out of fibers.
Fipo has produced portraits for many of our local artists, including Ragadi, Bobby Wine, Bebe Cool, and Irene Nambiru.
Her portrait had a lot of designs in her face. She had put glittering things, powder like, then with hair along the face. So it took 2 months, in fact. For Kano's case, since he has no beards, it is also not easy to make.
His scope includes even international artists. As an upcoming artist, Fipo laments the lack of commitment of customers who commission pictures and then fail to deliver on the payment.
People cannot pay for this work. When someone like you have designed, like I have designed your portrait, I come, someone gives you very little money, or else he doesn't, and you stay with an art piece, because many of the people are ignorant about the fiber work.
Throughout his childhood, Fipo had a rough time getting through school, and he thus identifies with the disadvantaged youth in the slums. He is in the early stages of setting up a project, a craft center, and would welcome sponsorship. The Miss Uganda search has widened its net, and as we catch up on that action, Fashionista takes you eastwards in the hills of Mbale. And here at Mount Elgon Hotel, the East unleashes its beauties in an array of more exclusive designs from Alice Kimeza's oil fashions.
The grace, the style, the beauty, the elegance, glamour.
And as the girls took to the stage, the glittering and body-hugging design they wore did more than enough to emphasize exactly what the East had to offer. And this time round, the creative wear is getting bolder and bolder, as the polythene is now used in designs that are both chic and elegant. Saiso banana leaves not far behind. In a burst of patriotism, the Uganda flag played its part in adorning the girls' bodies with unique fashions. And out of Africa, tantalizing creations of hats and flowers, not leaving out our traditional kikois and kangas in a show of elegance. And as the girls displayed a wide range of unique designs in the evening wear category, it was up to the judges to take their pick from the beauties in the East. The World Dance Day, introduced in 1982 by the International Dance Committee of the UNESCO International Theatre Institute, has been celebrated on April 29th. This has been through promotion by the International Dance Council, an umbrella organization within UNESCO for all kinds of dance. The holiday is supposed to increase the awareness of the importance of dance among the general public, as well as to persuade governments all over the world to provide a proper place and support dance in all systems of education. In Uganda, celebrating this day is going one step further by creating unity among the dancers.
There's been a tendency of dividing traditional dance alone, contemporary dance alone, ballet, which is this small, alone. And you're saying when you're celebrating dance, it is dance. International Dance Day is not based on religion, but is based on dance. So the fact that now we have also church groups coming in, the attitude is changing. And I'm very sure where you've seen hip-hop dancers, it has been mainly a born-again wedding because they see this dance in church, which means the church accepts this kind of dancing, then they will be invited.
In more than half of the 200 countries in the world, dance does not appear in legal texts, and there are no funds allocated in the state budget to support this form of art. And here in Uganda, it is mostly regarded as an extracurricular activity children engage in to entertain their parents on Parents' Day.
Last year's theme had to do with children. How are we using dance to enhance children's growth, enhance children's physical abilities, mental abilities? So possibly as Ugandans we should pick from that, because I find that dance does 3/4 of helping in growth. And what do I mean by dance? Dance is movement. Even when you walk, you're dancing. I mean, if you walk on the street, each one walks in their own way and it is pleasing to the eye, the aesthetics, as you may say.
But there is more to dance than just movement, and this is what World Dance Day is aiming towards, bringing out into the open, looking at dance as a means towards other forms of development.
There's been a tendency of saying traditional dance. Who cares about traditional dance? The people who are doing hip-hop do not necessarily feel comfortable with traditional dance. But we are all dancers, we are all artists. One of the things to actually appreciate ourselves as artists in the different forms, especially starting with the dance, that whatever kind of dance you start with, it is a dance. But also, where do you come from? for example, parents have this argument like, with all due respect, all these other dances, the contemporary dance, the ballroom, the everything, we may do them perfectly, but if you don't have your own cultural dance in you and you start with it, then you're not grounded, because it starts from within, it starts from where you are, it starts from your background, your cultural background, for you to even appreciate or understand other cultures better. There are a number of people who are working, using dance to work with traumatized children. For example, Breakdance Project Uganda is doing a lot. They have their projects in Gulu, Kitgum, Lira, and I think they've even gone to some of the camps and giving the children an expression where I don't have to really look at my situation. I'm able to express myself through something I love. They've come up with performances that have had these guys' traditional dances and breakdance. So they've given the children or youth another channel to express themselves.
But in order for dance to be taken to a new level, people's attitudes and preconceived ideas about dance will have to change, for it has not been regarded as a career in Uganda.
Very few parents, I would say very few parents actually appreciate children dancing. I would like to thank parents who have seen the talent in their children and have started early and have been open, have had open minds towards children who love dance and have not stopped them. Because once a parent says you cannot dance and they keep saying that to you, you'll drop out. And we've had many children who have the talent, but because my parent says no, you cannot dance, they close that door. Please parents, let the children be, let the youth, if their energy is they love dance, give it to them. I think let us have an open mind about dance. There are so many preconceived ideas about dance. Yeah, with due respect, you may have a negative attitude, but have you sat down to discuss this? Because, for example, going back to the school that was famously known dance, many sayings came out. You take your child to school, they are only going to dance and they'll be prostitutes. So dance was equated to being a prostitute, but that is not dance. So I would say, please be open-minded. Have questions, ask. Do not close your minds, do not close yourself to what someone has said without even evidence.
The spirit of dance has no color, no selected shape or size. It embraces the power of unity, strength, and beauty found within us.
Apart from celebrating the International Dance Day, a lot more effort is now being put into creating awareness and increasing appreciation of dance. That's it for today on the Art and Design Show. Tune in for more inspiring stories next week. Until then, enjoy the rest of your viewing.
NTV, turning on your world.
With a body weight of up to
This is NTV.
Seeking peace and security.
11 leaders convene in Kampala to discuss the crisis in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
Now, so as African ministers from the Great Lakes region express optimism about finding a lasting solution to the security crisis in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, be sure to have your say in our NTV poll tonight.
And the fight against Ebola, find out what the effect of the outbreak is, the deadly virus in Uganda is having on public transport.
Good evening and a warm welcome to Monday's edition of NTV Tonight. Let's now take a look at the rest of the headlines.
Uganda sends 100 Air Force soldiers to the African Union mission in Somalia.
The scare of death. Travelers shun the Mubende-Chibale route over the Ebola outbreak.
Also tonight, we deserve it. Members of Parliament defend increase to their fat allowances.
Thank you for joining us on NTV Tonight. I am Gabriel Epeno.
And I am Faith Ariho. Now tonight, African ministers from the Great Lakes region have expressed optimism about finding a lasting solution to the security crisis in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo ahead of the International Great Lakes Summit that begins tomorrow.
Well, the ministers discussed the implementation of a protocol that requires the member states to refrain from sending or supporting armed groups onto territories of member states.
Chris Ochamringa opens tonight's newscast.
The ministers from the 11 Great Lakes region member states discussed ways of preventing rebel groups such as the M23 in eastern DRC and other militias operating in the area from wreaking havoc in the region.
Eventually, for any semblance of peace to begin in the eastern DRC, they have to be a cessation of hostilities.
The meeting is a follow-up of the Heads of State Summit held in Addis Ababa last month, and it aims at coordinating a pact of security, stability, and the development of the Great Lakes region. The resolutions of the ministers are expected to be submitted to the heads of state at the official opening tomorrow in order for them to take action.
There is so much that hinges on the final outcome of the summit that will take place between tomorrow and tomorrow next. And whatever the head of the states decide, based on our recommendation tomorrow, will make or break what happens in Eastern DRC. But as of now, we are satisfied that their level of contact is at a very senior level and is very helpful for this process.
The DRC's President Joseph Kabila and Rwanda's Paul Kagame will attend the summit alongside a host of African and foreign dignitaries. Rwanda will be looking to rally regional support against mounting pressure from Western allies turned critics during the two-day summit. This meeting comes just months after the M23 rebels of DRC took over towns near the border of Uganda and DRC, sending thousands of refugees fleeing into Uganda. The Great Lakes region member states include Angola, Burundi, the Central African Republic, Congo, the DRC, Kenya, Rwanda, Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. Chris Ochamringa, NTV.
So as African ministers from the Great Lakes region express optimism about finding a lasting solution to the security crisis in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, we would like to hear from you on tonight's NTV poll on what you think this protocol that requires member states to refrain from supporting armed groups help in finding a lasting solution to the security crisis in that area. I'll say it again. Will a protocol requiring member states to refrain from supporting armed groups help in finding a lasting solution to the security crisis east of the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Well, to have your say, text 8778 followed by yes and or no, as well as your name and where you are texting from, and we shall be reading some of your comments during tonight's newscast, as well as bringing you the final poll result for tonight. Now, moving on, more than 100 Air Force soldiers have been sent off to Somalia, where they will be deployed immediately on arrival. This is the first time Uganda is sending an Air Force contingent to an authorized mission. The United Nations Security Council passed a resolution in February this year allowing Air Force operations in Somalia. Helicopter gunships and utility aircrafts sent to Somalia will help ground troops as they advance hundreds to hundreds of kilometers away from Mogadishu. Other troop contributing countries are also expected to send Air Force contingents. Now, due to security reasons, we are unable to display all pictures showing the military hardware sent off to Somalia. Frank Olisimbi reports.
AMISOM forces back in Somalia have advanced more than 40 kilometers from the capital Mogadishu. Some have been deployed to faraway regions like Baidoa in the north. As the mission continues to stretch to other parts of Somalia, more boots on ground and military hardware are required. AMISOM has been waiting to supplement the ground forces with an air force, and a nod by the UN Security Council came just in time.
The timing is quite important.
The Air Force has a whole host of obligations once they are deployed in Somalia, which is now shared and divided into sections by the troops on ground. The Air Force will have to protect convoys, engage the Al-Shabaab, do search and rescue missions. Amongst other roles are evacuation and the protection of infantry during battles.
The Air Force contingent is mainly going to handle three sectors, that is Sector 1, Sector 4 and Sector 3, that has parts of Gedo and Baidoa.
Baidoa is the second most strategic area for the Al-Shabaab after Kismayo in the south. After capturing and consolidating the Afgoe corridor, AMISOM is now focusing its efforts on Kismayo and Baidoa.
Because the remnants of Al-Shabaabs who are remaining, the choppers will be helping on quick response. On intelligence, helicopter, and then attack. So it will quicken the operation.
Currently, AMISOM comprises 12,000 troops, but the number is likely to be scaled up to 17,000 very soon. Frank Olisimbi, NTV.
Now, taxi and coach operators along the Kampala-Kagadi route are lamenting over the lull in business since the outbreak of Ebola in Chibale district. The operators told NTV that the number of passengers traversing that route has dramatically dropped due to fear of contracting the virus. Meanwhile, the Chibale district health officer Dan Chamanyo says 29 out of the 36 suspected Ebola victims are being discharged after being tested negative, while 3 of the 7 remaining patients have been confirmed positive for the deadly virus. Solomon Serwanja reports.
As the impact of the deadly Ebola outbreak in Kibale district continues to bite, the transportation sector is also being affected. Business at the old and the new park is slow, especially for taxis operating the Chibale-Kagadi route. According to these operators, many of their customers, especially businessmen and women, have closed shop in Kagadi.
Katugambe katenga for transport. Batuwa tubanga tubade tutika mwaka nyingi obabi obasatu kalenga musanvu sawa zino tuyina mu kanga 2 ezitika obasatu. Kwe gamba abantu batyanyo oburwadde nabana ababadde bayina emirimo gyabwe nga bakolereyo sawa zino bavaite bakyaliyo.
While these taxi men are lamenting at the Ebola ordeal, others are asking government to consider curfew for the entire region to prevent the deadly fever's infiltration into Kampala.
The government amagezi the district is Satu, Chibale, Kagadi, ne Mubende. Babasale ko babereyo. We Kampala wano bijje Kampala wano ejja kutta abantu bangi nnyo, tuli bangi nnyo wano mu Kampala.
At the bus station, the story is the same and in fact even heavier losses. This bus, which normally fills in 2 hours, has taken more than 5 hours to get at least half of the passengers, according to the operators.
This is the first bus. The second one is also parked at our side, and it's not even a half. So we have been affected. So we are calling upon for help by the government, at least to see what they can do.
Zahora Abdul Noor, the manager for Zahora Coaches, told us that although they are living in fear of Ebola, they are still managing somehow to conduct their business.
These buses are being owned by the bank. We are working for the bank, so we can't stop working because we are looking for the money for the bank, but we have been affected so much.
Away from the Kampala-Kagadi route, different taxi operators shared mixed views on the Ebola scourge.
Ebola tetunamufaako kubanga mu Kampala taliimu kati tunamufaako ki tufunye kusomesebwa ku kyo anti bwe buzibu bwe buliwo.
Meanwhile, the latest information today from Kagadi Hospital has revealed that 29 of the 36 suspected Ebola cases are to be discharged after being clinically declared Ebola negative.
We are going to have a brief ceremony for the task force to officially waive off the first few cases that are being discharged. Of course, with their discharge package, it includes just household items to start off a new life.
The hospital says that they are to present the 29 confirmed negative cases before the public so as to freely be accepted into community and not to be avoided for fear of transmission of the deadly virus. Chamanyo has also revealed that 3 out of the 7 Ebola suspected cases who are still being monitored at the high-risk zones of the isolation facility have been confirmed as positive, including a health worker. Solomon Serwanja, NTV Tonight.
Now, 5 officers from the office of the Prime Minister who had been earlier arrested and interrogated over the suspected 5 billion shillings fraud case have been rearrested and are now under police custody. This comes after the rearrest of the interdicted principal accountant in the same office, Mr. Godfrey Kazinda, after the detectives found more suspected evidence in relation to the case. Craig Kaduda reports.
Mr. Kazinda, a principal accountant in the office of the Prime Minister, was last week rearrested and his police bond cancelled after detectives discovered further documents that they suspect are forgeries in the ongoing 5 billion shilling fraud case within the office of the Prime Minister. Today, 5 others, namely Byekwaso Musiho, Owunyo Isaiah, Beatrice Kezabu, Arthur Mumanyire and John Martin Owar were rearrested after they too had been previously issued a police bond. The rearrests follow further investigations into the cases of the suspected fraud in which government is suspected to have lost more than 5 billion shillings.
So we cancelled their bonds because they may tamper with these pieces of evidence which are very, very critical in our investigations.
Now, each individual will serve their separate charges, ranging from fraud to causing financial loss and embezzlement, which could still change as the investigations continue.
In these cases, fraud cases, one person could be charged with various counts. That's why every other time new evidence comes, then the charges are likely to change depending on the investigation.
According to police findings, the team will be charged necessarily in court if and when the evidence has been compiled to a satisfying level, but have no intentions of detaining them for a long time.
In the event where we can, even tomorrow, we take them to court. In the event where we cannot, then we should be able to look at the law, respect the law, and grant them bond, or keep them longer with explanations given.
Police believes it has gathered crucial evidence in the case, but is still investigating the white-collar crime that was unearthed in the Prime Minister's office that is believed to have caused the government financial loss. Craig Kadoda, NTV.
NTV Tonight continues in a short while after this break, but here is some of what you can expect when...
Police deploys commandos in Kasese ahead of the highly contested women parliamentary polls.
And pandemonium in Busia as revenue officials attempt to impound smuggled rice. NTV Tonight continues after this short break. Do not go away.
This is NTV.
Welcome back. We start with a reminder of our NTV poll question for tonight and some of your responses. We asked, will a protocol requiring member states to refrain from supporting armed groups help in finding a lasting solution to the security crisis in the eastern DRC? Will a protocol requiring member states to refrain from supporting armed groups help in finding a lasting solution to the crisis east of the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Well, to have your say, text 8778, then yes or no, and followed by your name and where you are texting from. Let's now take a look at some of your comments so far.
Okay, Mujuni Carlton, you say no, the Congo crisis can only be solved if the voices of the citizenry are listened to. The continued fight for interests by different parties involved can only call a ceasefire, which doesn't guarantee peace after all.
And John Martin here says, no, the lasting solution for African leaders is to walk the talk and talk the walk and let them embrace democracy.
Okay, there stands our tentative poll result for now. 90% of you are saying yes, while 10% of our respondents so far say no.
And stay tuned as we shall be bringing you more comments and tonight's final poll result at the tail end of tonight's newscast.
Okay. Moving on, double registration has been reported ahead of this Wednesday's Kasese Woman MP by-elections.
In the just concluded voter register cleanup exercise by the Electoral Commission, it was discovered that 1,229 voters have registered twice, raising fears that this could give rise for non-complainant individuals to engage in multiple voting.
As Julius Senkandwa reports, President Museveni has been in the area campaigning for NRM's Rehema Muhindo, who is running against the DP and FDC candidates.
According to the Electoral Body Chairman Badu Chigundo, many people have registered at new polling stations without deleting their first stations where they voted in the last elections.
I want just to show you samples of that. Here's file number one. Fortunately, this was not, it was randomly placed. Happens to be a lady, double registered at the same polling station.
But as they are printing the official ballots, some other people are printing other ballots, which they intend to actually infiltrate. We're investigating we've got some credible reports.
But the Commission says it's aware of those trying to take advantage of the loopholes within the system and is ready to deal with them in line with the electoral laws.
If anybody claims he or she was deleted in the register, that will be an opportunity to arrest him or her. Because it is criminal to double the register.
Usually as the elections draws closer, cases of voter failing becomes the order of the day, especially from urban areas. But police are warning that this time round, they'll avert such moves. The Inspector General of Police, Lieutenant General Kali Kehula, says he's targeting youth brigades by deploying a group of taekwondo commandos to deal with them.
I'm warning Kanyamaz, all of you Kanyamazua and Kasese, I'm warning you. Either you get out of Kasese, if you are already there, or you are going to face these commandos. They are coming, police commandos.
He warns that no observer or agent will be allowed at any polling station without accreditation, as this may breed violence.
What role is Mwijike in the electoral process of Uganda? Because he's everywhere. And he asserts himself, he's terrorizing everybody. Who is Mwijike in this country? You have no right to act outside the law. And I have requested the chairman of the Electoral Commission to accredit whoever is supposed to participate in the elections.
Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission has this morning dispatched all the necessary voting materials ahead of the Wednesday polls.
The parking, the loading has been witnessed by security, and we shall escort the polling kit from here to Kasese and hand it over to the returning officer the security people there.
Yesterday, President Yoweri Museveni canvassed votes for the NRM candidate, while FDC's Kizza Besigye has been in the same district, ganging up support for the FDC flag bearer. The three candidates for the Wednesday's hotly anticipated polls are NRM's Rema Muhindo, FDC's Winnie Kiza, and DPC's Rosemary Masiko. Julius Senkandwa, NTV.
Now, many patients are helpless at Jinja Referral Hospital after health workers laid down their tools in protest at one of their colleagues being arrested. Dr. Charles Barungi is accused of neglecting a patient at a large fee from the family. In the process, a 20-year-old pregnant woman is alleged to have died as a result of the doctor's malpractice.
Looking at the compound of Jinja Referral Hospital, you'll notice quite a number of health workers walking around, and you'll think that inside the hospital wards, they are brimming to capacity. But no, in reality, there are rows of empty beds, some of which have been abandoned by patients who have run off to other health facilities in the district. For a good number of hours, according to some patients, the doctors left them unattended. I begged the doctors and nurses to help me, but they refused, even when my stomach hurt. Finally, I delivered my baby, but she fell on the grass, she says. The same goes for this woman. After looking for doctors, she gave up and her baby was delivered on the veranda. Many patients, especially in the maternal wards, have been bemoaning the absence of health workers. This arose following claims of a health workers' demonstration following the arrest of one of their own, Dr. Charles Barungi, a gynecologist accused of neglecting a 20-year-old pregnant woman. Sharifa Nakato died on Friday alongside her baby after the doctor allegedly demanded 700,000 shillings in payment from the family. The hospital director, Dr. Michael Osinde, however, blames the media for spreading rumors about the strike.
Skeleton work goes on over the weekend, and Monday is supposed to have the bulk of our patients.
But during a health workers' meeting, he attempted to persuade them to go back to work, and most were not in uniform.
Two wrongs don't make a right. Let's not cause other mortalities and morbidities.
The health workers have asked patients and residents to instead respect and not attack them on the basis of what he described as rumors concerning neglect. The deceased Sharifa Nakato is understood to have been a senior for vacationist who ran away from home to be with her boyfriend. Unfortunately, after realizing Sharifa's pregnancy to be a burden, it is claimed that the boyfriend dumped her in Iganga at a hospital, from where he alerted her parents to do the pickup. Doctors suspect she could have received her injuries from elsewhere before being rushed to the referral hospital.
This lady, from the report that I already have, I know she had many other conditions that we can only divulge after the investigations are over.
Our correspondent in Jinja, Isaac Kintu, says Dr. Charles Barungi has been released on police bond and will wait until investigations are complete before going back to work. Meanwhile, the hospital is once again functioning.
Let's now move on to a wrap of more stories making news across Uganda tonight.
General Moses Ali, along with 11 other UPDF officers, have been promoted to different ranks. Moses Ali, the Deputy Prime Minister and leader of government business, who was recently promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General, has again been promoted this time to the rank of General. Brigadier Matayo Chaligunza has been promoted to the rank of Major General, and Major Paddy Ankunda, who is the spokesperson for AMISOM troops in Somalia, has been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. Others promoted include Brigadier Julius Chihande, Colonel Kaka Bajenda, Colonel Sikaje Tumusime, Colonel Herbert Mbonye, Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Kitts, Lieutenant Colonel James Katera, Lieutenant Colonel Grip Mugisha, and Major Tofa Agaba.
The time of need for this country when you undertook to participate in the liberation struggle of the UPDF, the commander of Defense Forces and his officers for promoting us. I also want to thank the CDA for officiating at this occasion.
The function was presided over by General Aronda Nyakerima at Mbuya headquarters in Kampala.
Meanwhile, gunfire rocked Busia taxi park as enforcement officers attached to Uganda Revenue Authority impounded contraband rice from suspected smugglers, which paralyzed business at the park for close to an hour.
Omwana wa kagali abadde avuye na kachera kamukoka olutuuse wano ne bagoba omwana wa kagali n'asuula kagali ne bakwata kachere ne bakateeka mu motoka ekivuddemu okateeka mu motoka ne batandika okubaki amasasi ne bakubiramu emotoka yaffe eri.
The shooting that lasted about 5 minutes left 3 taxis operating along the Kampala-Busia stage damaged. URA enforcement officers told NTV at Busia police station that they were prompted to shoot after a mob at the park attacked them and attempted to disarm the officers as they impounded 2 bags of the smuggled rice. Some of the people accused the officers of being brutal. Police investigations into the shooting are continuing.
Members of Parliament have defended the decision to increase their monthly earnings. The move, they say, is intended to attract attendance of MPs in committees and also do their oversight effectively. Parliamentary spokesperson Helen Kawesa says the increment is within the parliamentary budget and no more money will be used to finance MPs' emoluments. Jingo Francis reports from Parliament.
Do you know what a member of Parliament earns? I guess not, but on a general statement that the MPs are highly paid. You could be right or wrong. On average, a Ugandan MP earns a consolidated monthly payment of between 18 million and 20 million. Currently, MPs receive a basic salary of 2.6 million shillings, a subsistence allowance of 4.5 million, a monthly gratuity of 30% of the basic salary, which is 780,000, a town running of 1 million, a constituency allowance of 3.2 million shillings, out-of-pocket allowance abroad of 500,000, out-of-pocket internal travel of 150,000, car allowance of 103 million shillings, daily committee seating allowance of 50,000, and the mileage calculated according to the farthest point an MP comes from. This makes the National Female Youth MP Monica Amoding one of the highest paid lawmakers, as well as her contemporaries from Kabong and Koboko. Their mileage is higher than an MP representing Kampala Central Muhammad Nsereko. Following a decision by the Parliamentary Commission to increase allowances of MPs from 10,000 to 50,000 for committee sittings and 100,000 to 150,000 out-of-pocket allowance, all members of Parliament NTV talked to this morning could not bite their fingers and supported the increment.
So an MP lives a lonely soul actually. Is harassed by the voters, is harassed in the parliament, is harassed by the family, is harassed by the care. Because everybody has actually that misconception that MPs earn a lot of money.
So for me, members of the public should look at this in good faith. The MPs being there is simply providing the lead for people where they want to go.
That in this government there is money. A government without money cannot think about increasing members of parliament.
The parliamentary spokesperson Helen Kawesa says the increment is within the parliamentary budget and no more money will be used to finance MPs' emoluments.
The increment is in line with the standard of living, the cost prices across the board. And also to motivate the MPs to...
Increasing MPs' allowances comes in at a time when there are calls to increase payment of teachers, medical workers, police and other public servants, but in vain.
If you say that you are increasing, say, in parliament, that means you have the capacity to increase teachers and other civil servants and nurses and doctors. That's what we should move with.
So it would be unfair to term them as greedy. But what I can say is that MPs have a package that is designed for them according to the status that they have in society.
There has been a growing practice of some legislators who only come to Parliament and sign the attendance book, take a cup of tea and a sausage, and march out for personal business, while others are like strangers in the house.
Because before, if we were 30 in the committee and only 10 attend, all of them would earn. But today, if there are 5 who have attended, it's only the 5 who earn. Not actually even those who have not actually attended. The public must actually appreciate that.
The Speaker also has mechanism in place to ensure that MPs effectively conduct their roles. Attend plenary, attend committees, because this is part of their work. If it is brought to the attention of the Speaker and the whips that so and so a member of Parliament, when he comes and signs, definitely measures are taken against that member of Parliament. It has happened before.
Some section of the public argue that part of this increment could go into buying drugs in hospitals and improving other services a poor Ugandan needs. Jingo Francis, NTV Parliament.
Well, up next is NTV Business, so be sure to join Malcolm Musime for that after this short break. You're watching NTV Tonight.
I'm warning Kanyamazu. All of you Kanyamazu and Kasese, I'm warning you. Either you get out of Kasese, if you are already there, or you are going to face these commandos. They are coming, police commandos.
This is NTV.
umeme.
Thank you for watching NTV. This is NTV Business. My name is Malcolm Simeon. A very good evening to you all. You are welcome. Now first tonight, China and Norway have signed a tripartite pact with Uganda to support the country's development aspirations through the transfer of skills and knowledge. As Reno John reports, the development underscores the growing interest among development partners in Uganda's economic prospects, largely anchored on the country's oil and gas sector.
An extensively industrialized China, one among the world's superpowers, and Norway, a major giant in the energy sector, are now urging Uganda onto a tripartite arrangement through which they think they will better promote trade and commerce.
I think it's a privilege for me to be associated with this kind of events and partnership. My humble suggestion is that this actually represents the future of cooperation, because you can actually pull on competences and capacities from 3 countries, and that's quite unique. So I think that should be taken on board by all of you.
In particular, China says it's expecting part of its assistance worth $20 billion for selected African countries this year to go towards that, including establishing agricultural demonstration centers.
Find out sectors and ways that Chinese investment could be best exploited and be used to promote Uganda economic growth. Third, set up a database of potential investment projects to facilitate Chinese investors.
This position was made clear here in Kampala at the announcement of the trilateral cooperation among China, Norway and Uganda, through which this initiative is sought.
Because you cannot have employees without investments, and you enhance employment opportunities by enhancing investments in the country. And part of the considerations for an investor is the legal regime of every single country.
Uganda's vast mineral deposits such as oil and gas, gold and phosphates among others are seen as part of the wider resources, eliciting interest from such economically well-established foreign powers. Reina Ojan, NTV Business.
Now, the Uganda Securities Exchange has announced plans to open up a platform that will enable worthy small and medium enterprises access credit from both internal and foreign investors. The platform, called the Growth Enterprise Market, is intended to support good businesses, but currently facing a challenge of meeting the Securities Exchange listing requirements. As Samuel Setumba reports.
Are you part of a serious small and medium company that is well organized and needs investors to join and inject capital in it? Soon a platform shall be established at the Uganda Securities Exchange to make sure this happens.
The stock market is here as a source of raising capital.
There are many companies that are small, medium, even companies that might look large in the Ugandan context that can have a regional ambition. So we need capital to finance the growth into the region. It is selling more shares to the market so that the company can acquire more capital.
The platform, called the Growth Enterprise Market Segment, will allow SMEs which are ready for support to grow and expand through facilitating private investors with capital to acquire shares in these businesses. This is also called equity investment. To encourage the other companies, the USE is asking the Finance Ministry to consider incentives for those companies which list on this platform, tax or otherwise.
We shall review your request for targeted incentives for companies that qualify to list on this segment. We feel that there are a lot of incentives that can be done.
The intention by USC to help SMEs has existed and almost started, but never got off the ground. The market awaits to see if this time round something will seriously become of this intention. Samuel Setumba, NTV Business.
Now, in the financial markets, institutional investors have been the major contributors to the activity of the bounce. The all-share index gained by 2 points to close at 1,063. We have more in the financial market report.
Financial Report is brought to you by URA, developing Uganda together.
vehicles are required to revalidate their registration using our new online module and get a new logbook. All newly imported vehicles will also be registered online using this new online module. Get out of the line and get online.
And finally, in NTV Business for tonight, reduced global passenger numbers and revenues have pushed Kenya Airways to cut costs by shedding off staff. The harsh operating environment marked by low passenger numbers and high costs of operations has seen the airline's yields decrease even as it looks to roll out aggressive expansion plan.
Last week, the Kenya Airways rolled out its staff rationalization program that will see about 300 workers sent home as it seeks to streamline costs. The airline's chief executive, Titus Naikuni, says that despite the various initiatives put in place, the firm's cost base continues to be extremely high. He adds that this, coupled with other direct operating costs, have put pressure on the firm's contribution margin, reducing its overall ability to operate profitability. Also, the economic downturn in Europe and high cost of fuel have hit the airline's performance hard. Last month, K2 released a report that showed its first quarter passenger traffic remained unchanged from the previous quarter. The development comes on the heels of the lackluster performance of several major aviation industry players, including British Airways and its parent company, Iberia, which have reported a $476 million loss for the 6 months to the end of June.
That winds up NTV Business for tonight. Now we're going to take a breather. When we come back, Joel Kamadi will be in with sports.
Only fill the Cato with enough for 1 cup and store excess in flasks.
No one feels the motherland like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music. Only on NTV, the station that celebrates local music talent.
Waterbuck is part of the antelope genus and is native to Western, Central, Eastern and Southern Africa. It has a reddish-brown shaggy coat which progressively grows darker with maturity and a white beak.
Good evening and welcome to NTV Sport. I am Joel Kamadi. Now tonight, Uganda's dismal performance at the London 2012 Olympics continued when Julius Mutekanga in the men's 800-meter heats and Janet Achola in the women's third 1500-meter heats both failed to qualify past their respective stages. Here are some of the highlights. Mutekenga came 5th in heat 7 of the men's 800 meters with a time of 1 minute 48 seconds, 2 seconds off the pace of eventual winner Solomon Duane of the United States. Janet Achola finished 11th out of the 15 runners in the third heat of the women's 1500 meters with a time of 4 minutes 11 seconds, which was 5 seconds off the winner Bulut Gamzi of Turkey. Bolt, doubted by many after a season dogged by defeat and injury, ran the second fastest time ever to beat fellow Jamaican and training partner Johan Blake into silver and American Justin Gatlin into bronze. Bolt's 9.63 seconds, just 0.05 seconds slower than his own staggering world record, was a new Olympic best and capped a race in which 7 men went under 10 seconds, with only the injured Asafa Powell failing to break that mark. Kemboy finished in 8 minutes 18 seconds with Mahidine Mekisi Benabad of France taking silver. Kenya's Abel Mutai secured bronze, but there was drama when compatriot and defending champion Bremen Kipruto was stripped with 700 meters remaining. Kipruto jumped straight back to his feet but could only finish 5th. Kenya have dominated this race in the past Olympics and this was no different. Ugandan Benjamin Kiplagat was disqualified. The 30-year-old marked his gold medal with a trackside celebration dance in front of a capacity crowd of 80,000 at the Olympic Stadium. Now, police have arrested kickboxer Malik Kalisa for allegedly being involved in a simple robbery in which businessman and politician Kalunji Moses lost over $4,000 as well as 600,000 Uganda shillings along Kampala Road. He is suspected to have committed the crime along with another suspect only identified as Abdallah. We have the details of the story.
Professional kickboxer Malik Kalisa spent 3 nights in police custody for allegedly robbing Kalunji Moses of $4,500 and 600,000 shillings in December last year. Kalisa is said to have connived with one Abdallah, who was earlier arrested and has been produced in court. Malik Kalisa is said to have been on police surveillance and on run after court issued a warrant of arrest. Police found him at Kampala Club, but he escaped and was chased up to a raw park where members of the public intercepted him for the police to effect the arrest.
Police arrested one Kalisa Malik on a file which police has been handling for some time. We've been handling a case of simple robbery, which was reported by Kalunji Moses, alleging that one Kalisa Maliki and another one called Abdallah robbed him of his money amounting to $4,500 and 600,000 Ugandan shillings at a place called High Table on 13th December last year.
Malik Kalisa came to the limelight when he took on professional kickboxing, where he has twice lost to UPDF's Titus Tugume in the national title challenge. He will tomorrow be produced before Buganda Road Court on a charge of simple robbery.
Now, George Abege watched training of the Uganda Hippos on the sidelines after suffering a knock during drills at Kavumba Recreational Center. Despite the setback, the technical team is optimistic about the team's fitness levels and attitude.
George Abege will require rest and medical attention to fully recover from an injury ahead of Uganda Hippos' fixture against the Black Satellites of Ghana this weekend. Despite the setback, the team is working on strengthening their midfield, which the technical team say will be key in containing their opponents who will be playing to overturn the 3-1 result. Team managers are also confident players are eager to reach the continental final and know how much effort will be required of them while in Ghana.
The country should expect a very good result. Yeah, we're very determined and hopeful for qualification this time.
The attitude so far is quite good, and everybody is focusing on the match which we are going to play with Ghana in Accra. So I think everything will go smoothly.
The winners in this weekend's game will meet either Morocco or Gambia in the next stage of the competition. Uganda Hippos leave for Ghana on Thursday with only 18 players from the 23 currently in camp. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
Okay, now, Diego Hamis Kiza, a Cranes player who also plays international football as a striker for Yanga Football Club of Tanzania, has been crowned July's sports personality. Now, Kiza was voted this morning at the Nile Special Uganda Sports Press Association meeting held at the Lugogo National Council of Sports headquarters in Kampala. It is the striker's 5 goals he scored during the Sekafa Kagame Cup Championship that prompted the sports writers to award him with the July accolade. He beat the national under-20 team striker Julius Ogwang to the award with 520 points against 420. Volleyball player Lawrence Yakan came third in the 3-man contest. Kiza will be given his award at a special dinner on Friday next week. In international sport, Roberto Mancini has admitted defeat in his pursuit of Arsenal's Robin van Persie. Elsewhere, Santi Cazorla is poised to become an Arsenal player early next week. That and more in our international sports roundup. Mancini has been desperate to bring the striker to the Etihad, but have faced stiff competition from Manchester United and Serie A giants Juventus. And after it emerged that Sir Alex Ferguson had stayed in Britain while his team were in Norway in a bid to force through a £20 million deal for the Dutchman, Mancini has revealed the club are no longer in the race. Elsewhere, the Spain midfielder is in London finalizing his move, and he will be part of the Ghana squad, which travels to Germany for a training camp next week if, as expected, the deal is formally completed by then. Arsenal will take on Cologne next Sunday in a friendly arranged as part of the deal, which brought Lukas Podolski to the Emirates Stadium. Finally, police will launch an investigation into Gael Clichy's claim that a banana was thrown onto the pitch by spectators in Manchester City's 4-0 win in Limerick on Sunday. The Barclays Premier League champions eased to victory at Thurmond Park in the final friendly before this weekend's Community Shield clash with Chelsea. But the game was marred by Clichy's claim, with Limerick also confirming they are investigating the alleged incident. And that winds up NTV Sport for tonight. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much, Joe Kamari. Let's now have a look at tomorrow's weather prospects. Okay, let's now go back to tonight's NTV poll, and we asked earlier, will a protocol requiring member states to refrain from supporting armed groups help in finding a lasting solution to the security crisis in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo? The final poll is out. 42% of our respondents saying yes, 58% of you say no.
Well, we thank you so much for your comments tonight. Let's now sample some of them.
Okay, Mugambi Muraguri, you say no, that was just a public relations exercise. The bullet factory in Kenya needs to sell its products, and so do Uganda and Rwanda need the minerals in the Congo.
And Muteri Musa here says, I think it won't help that, but issues concerning security in DRC must be handled with extra care. Besides, security in northern Uganda is also not yet worked upon to the maximum.
Okay. Anthony Sechiwengo, you say no, international relations thrive on scratch my back, I scratch yours. These are just mere discussions.
And Nono Dennis here says, no, sometimes decisions should be made basing on the fact that international protocols and meetings work on the floor and merely a round table and not practically. There are discussions of how one does what and how, with little or no emulation.
Okay, thank you so much for all of your comments and contributions. NTV poll will return tomorrow with yet another question for your discussion. Thank you so much for contributing. Now that winds up NTV tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Gabriel Epeno.
And I'm Faith Ariho. Good night.
Bye-bye.
is NTV.
The waterbuck is part of the antelope genus and is native to Western, Central, Eastern and Southern Africa. It has a reddish-brown shaggy coat which progressively grows darker with maturity and a white bib under the throat. It is generously covered with thin brownish oily grease that has a distinct musky odor. It's easily recognized by a distinctive white band on the rump encircling the tail and the long bow-shaped ringed horns of the male, which go up to 100 centimeters long. The female has no horns. The waterbuck stands up to 1.3 meters at the shoulder and weighs from 160 to 240 kilograms. The waterbuck roves in small herds in marshes, scrub and savanna areas near water where they mainly eat grass and require large quantities of water, hence their partiality to water bodies. The waterbucks share a social life similar to that of the cobs. They are territorial and a herd usually has one dominant male with numerous females. Young males form bachelor herds which are a training ground for the bucks to perfect their skills in order to go and fight the dominant male and take over the herd of females. This is part of their training process and they will choose a partner according to their horns, which must be the same size. These wrestling matches are preparing them for a major territorial fight with a dominant male in order to take over a leg in the traditional breeding grounds. Waterbucks will give birth to a single calf after a 7 to 8 month gestation period. Waterbucks have a lifespan of 18 years.